Yeah. Yeah. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Thursday morning edition of the Rob Brown Show is on your radio. Welcome in. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How's everybody? Y'all good? Y'all all right? I hope so. I hope you're having a lovely day so far. I hope you're having a lovely week as we are on the back nine officially. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is mine, but not exclusively, because directly across from me is the Sultan of Swag, the Professor of Perfection, the Wizard of Wave, the Great One himself. Lonzo is here as well. What up, Zoe?
My cartwheel isn't working, but I'll fix it.
Well, that's a tragedy.
Yeah, it is. Don't worry though. The yes will be back.
Yeah.
There you go. There they are. That works.
Yeah.
I'm doing all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm all right over here.
I like it. I like it. We got a show today, kids. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into on today's radio broadcast. Plenty of things to talk about and discuss. Obviously, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. Coming up in about 34-ish minutes, we will be joined by our guy. Rashad Beard is the host. Yeah! 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 Of the Panther Nation podcast. Rashad will be here to talk a little silver and blue ball with us. And then coming up at 11:20, you know what time it is. Time for Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo. And
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yes, indeed. We're going to have to extend that segment. That's going to have to be a long segment today because we've got MMA to talk about. No, you don't want to extend the segment? I thought you would.
Yeah, I do, but it won't happen, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, well,
we say we're going to extend. And
it's
then,
on the. I literally wrote long segment today on the show prep.
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Because it's normally a long segment.
Because we got Stipe and John Jones we got to talk about.
Do we?
Yep.
See, I didn't put that.
That's the fight you wanted.
Yeah, but
and now you have it.
And when is it?
It's maybe.
No. When is the date that they have set?
Oh, I don't remember.
I believe it's like October or November.
I still want to talk about the setup. Right?
I don't think it's going to happen, and I'd rather talk about it when we're closer because John Jones will do something to screw up. He just will.
I'm not saying you're. In fact, I'm saying you're probably right.
It's one of those things. Don't speak of it, and maybe it'll happen. Yeah, that's one of those.
Shh. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Don't look at it. We'll see. All right, so we might talk Jones v. Miocic. We will talk Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou because I am going to convince Lonzo that he should be against this fight as well. And
I have that number one on the sheet, by the way, because give you time to do what other people have failed to do and convince me when I'm have my mind made up on something.
Good.
And I hope you succeed. I really do.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Because I am going to use something that you yourself have said that fits this perfectly.
Turning it on me. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I am going to turn your own thing against you.
Now I'll be thinking for the next couple hours about what that might be.
Hang in there, kids. At 11:20, I'm going to do it. All right. So stay tuned for that. But that's not all we got coming up on the radio broadcast today. You know, earlier in the week, we talked about the Georgia Bulldogs. And the article by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution that came out that effectively, I don't want to say accused, but alleged that the University of Georgia has been, shall we say, taking it easy on allegations and charges of sexual assault. And perhaps, I think they lightly insinuated, just perhaps maybe even a little, were allowing the news to focus on multiple charges of speeding and reckless driving to get people to overlook the sexual assault accusations. Well, Kirby and the gang have now fired back at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and that article. We're going to get into that later on in the radio broadcast. I am going to ask you, coming up here very, very shortly, I'm going to ask you what conference, if any, is most likely to get 2 teams into the college football playoffs this year. I got a couple of thoughts. I got one that's a definite. I got one that is a dark horse, and I think some of y'all will push back on me on that one. But we're going to get into that later on in the radio broadcast. The United States men's national team bounced from the CONCACAF Gold Cup last night by Panama. The Panamanians, the Canal Boys, as they are being called, because there's the Panama Canal. The canal.
I'm aware of the canal.
I was saying that for the listeners.
Okay,
I'm saying that for the overwhelming group.
Canal Boys.
The Canal Boys. There's the Canal and Jamaica.
Sounds like a Southern gospel group, actually.
Jamaica goes by the Reggae Boys, which I love, by the way.
Yeah,
they even put the Z on the end and everything.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah, the Reggae Boys. The Panamanians scored late in that game, and then the Americans equalized. They went to extra time, did it again, got to 2-2, got level, and went to PKs, and the Americans fell in PKs. So we're going to talk about that, because on one hand, you had the American B team. You had a bunch of guys trying to make an argument that they deserve to be on the World Cup roster in 2026. Going up against Panama's A team. That is the team that they will be utilizing to qualify and enter the 2026 World Cup, which, keep in mind, the U.S., Canada, and Mexico are already qualified for, because the host get an automatic qualifier, and all 3 teams are serving as hosts this year. So there's opportunity. Panama has been working out with their A team in this. That being said, it's still not good enough. BJ Callahan has done very, very well, I think, as the manager of the U.S. men's national team so far. However, last night was not good enough. And we're going to talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. Got another golf story for you, this time coming from the perspective of the players on the PGA/Live Tour? Question mark?
Players like the old people or the actual guys who play golf?
Oh, like players.
Oh, okay.
Players, dog.
So we're hearing from Tiger.
We're hearing from Xander Schauffele, who is a recent winner on tour.
When you think playa, you think Xander.
Xander.
Because you can't have a name like that and not be a playa.
I mean, you got to be a stud if you're coming out as Xander, for sure. So we'll hear about that later on in the radio broadcast. Major League Baseball, we have told you guys, there's a lot of good news and a lot of bad news out of Major League Baseball. On one hand, there's been a spike in viewership this year. Directly, I think, attributed to the pitch clock, to the new rules, to shorter games, et cetera, et cetera. There's also a lot of bad news. For instance, this year's All-Star Game, which I think is probably the best All-Star Game that we have had in a while. A lot of drama, late game heroics, Hollywood setups on the diamond. Viewership down. Again, down 7% from last year's All-Star Game. That's a big drop in TV terms. They had just a tick over 7 out of available 320+ million people tuned in to watch that game. And by the way, a game that took place when there was nothing else on. It was a Tuesday night. There's nothing else on. There's no basketball they were up against. They weren't against regular season baseball games. Nothing else on.
NXT. I mean, come on. NXT was on. And it was a great NXT.
That's fair.
So obviously NXT is the reason why.
Still working my way through it. I'm going to go ahead and credit this to Tony. You know, everybody needs to know what's up with Tony and Stacks.
So you don't know?
I don't. I haven't finished it yet.
Well, that's going to be a problem in 2 hours.
That's all right. I got time. I'll watch it during segments. Anyway, up against nothing else except NXT. And it didn't do great, which is interesting to me because baseball's regular season numbers are up. Why didn't the All-Star numbers go up? We'll talk about that later on in the radio broadcast as well. We got to get a little bit of last night's ESPYs in. LeBron James got on stage, and he said, I ain't done. I got the quote from him. We're going to play that later on. He's back. Braun making a run. And by the way, if you didn't see it, McAfee dropped a Hogan-esque leg drop on Skip on the ESPYs last night. Just Pat McAfee continues, Lonzo, to be my favorite dude on television. He just is, because he's me. He's just a more successful, richer, younger, more in shape, better looking me.
Well, I didn't watch because they were saying there's no host. If they would have billed McAfee as the host, which I guess he wasn't, he was just up there for a segment.
Yeah, he just did that segment with by the way, Damar Hamlin, which was fantastic. Liam Hendricks, who is the Chicago White Sox reliever who battled cancer, came back this year, made his return, has been playing pretty good ball since then. He got the Chuck Award. That was great. Damar Hamlin got the Pat Tillman Award. Actually, I'm lying to you. Damar Hamlin presented the Pat Tillman Award to the Buffalo Bills training staff and the first responders who brought him back from the dead, literally in front of our very eyes on the football field. That was an incredible moment.
All right, so I've seen some highlights, and I thought that was good enough because all award shows, like a couple of years ago, decided to go all politics, and I'm not there for that. I want to hear about the sports. I don't want to hear about, all the politics. So it's better to watch the highlights, and then you can pick and choose and go, okay, I want to see what McAfee said. I want to see this. I want to see what LeBron said. I don't have to worry about the presentation being overly political.
I mean, when you give someone an award, you give them the opportunity to say something. That's how scratch that. In radio, we just have to get our awards and get the hell off the stage.
Yeah. I was going to say, why are you leaning for? Suddenly he leans over. I'm like, what's going on here?
Because Lonzo and I have picked up one award. We will be picking up another one this year. We don't know which one we're getting yet. But the first year I went and we picked up our trophy, I don't think I've told you this before, Zoe. This is probably my head being larger than it should be. I assume we were going to have like a minute or two to say something. I had a slight speech prepared.
I could have swore I told you we weren't talking. I mean, that year, actually, for the first time, I think ever, I saw someone talk, and it was Hendricks, if I recall. Yeah, because normally you go up, get your award, you go off, get your picture taken to be put in the archives of the South Carolina Broadcasters Association. It's in there forever. My picture's been taken many times. Not that I'm bragging, but it's very cool because you feel like it, other than that part, but it's a smart move. Why would you let people who talk for a living have an open microphone? You know how long that awards ceremony would be? Because everyone's going to try to one up the person behind them. I just think it's a smart move not letting anyone talk.
No, it absolutely is. I'm not saying.
And then
not.
they'd have
I'm
to.
just saying I was ready.
They'd have to roll in the teleprompters for the TV people because they wouldn't know what to say when they got up there.
I was ready, man. I was ready. Anyway,
did you thank your mom and
I was going to be ridiculous.
All right,
it was going to be ridiculous. So. While
did you thank the aliens? Because I mean, you got to put that in there.
No, but if we get it this year and I get the opportunity, I will absolutely thank Bigfoot for providing us for countless hours.
You should do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Bigfoot. I would like to thank Duke's Mayonnaise for helping make this possible. I would like to thank all the people who think that a default hot dog comes with chili and don't recognize that is a chili dog. Your incorrectness helped me get here today. I would like to thank Floppy Bacon. Without Floppy Bacon, one of the most ragiest of rage debates that helped us accomplish this incredible feat would not have been possible. I'd like to thank Elon. I'd like to thank Elon because Elon has created more controversy on this show unintentionally than maybe even mayonnaise, which is an incredible, incredible accomplishment. So thanks to Elon Musk. Big ups out there to him. And of course, obviously, yes, Steven, I would thank the armada because without the Armada, I would just be an insane person yelling at myself.
Yeah. So again, this is the reason why they don't let people talk, because you're going to one up. That guy gets up there. Suddenly Rob's writing down on his pad or whatever he's taking up there. Oh man, that guy before he went, I'm going 4. He went 2 minutes. I'm going 4 minutes, because it's radio and it's always competitive with radio people. And I think it's a good move. And I never really thought about that till now, but it makes sense. Don't let the radio people talk.
That is absolutely the correct way to handle it.
Yes.
Because
but you got to wonder when they decided to do that. So early on, was it like, oh man, it's Hillbilly Jim at the Hall of Fame. This thing's never going to end. And that's just our first award.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely the correct decision not to let Lonzo and I have a mic, because all it's going to turn into is, that guy was really funny. Somebody hand me a napkin. I gotta do better. I gotta do better.
We still need to talk to the DJ about walk-up song now.
You're not wrong. What do we go with? NWO or DX? I kind of want to go DX.
Yeah, me too. But
DX.
If you go DX, you got to do something when you're up there. And
okay. Might be my last award, but I'll do it.
You gotta cross your arms. And
ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you all for your consideration for Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year for our 3rd time. But unfortunately, Lonzo and I have been disqualified from all future awards because in 2023, when we went up to accept our award, we told the entire audience to suck it.
All right, so maybe I should take my brand new cowboy hat back and get the Shawn Michaels hat, just so I could just run around you while you're getting the trophy.
Oh, man, so good. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that, unfortunately, I was just notified by Rashad Beard that he's out of town, so he will not be able to join us. That's okay. We're still going to talk Panther football in that segment. It'll just be me, Lonzo, and
he's not in Canada again, is he?
I don't know. He just said I'm out of town. I can't make him today.
I think last time he was in Paris, though. I mean,
it depends on if he's on, because Rashad vacations like I do. Like, if I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going somewhere. Boston, the Dominican, like I'm doing something. I'm not a staycation guy.
I got to admit, I don't know what his day job is. I don't want to know, because I think he's a spy. And that to me just works better for me. Me thinking him, undercover somewhere, and that's why he's not here.
I know you don't. I'm sure you've seen it, as most of you guys have. One of my favorite shows of all time is How I Met Your Mother. It's a great sitcom. One of my favorite sitcoms.
Yeah, my kids like it way too much, which makes me not. I've seen bits and pieces, and we see what a great actor that Barney guy is, because he's completely the opposite.
Yeah.
In real life. Yeah. So, I mean,
in real life, Doogie Howser is gay.
Yes.
On that television show, he's like the best womanizer in television history. But one of the best parts about that, there's a whole gimmick around him, that whole the whole show, where he's loaded rich. He's traveling all the time, and every time they're like, "What do you do for a living?" He's like, and he never answers it. You never find out what he does for a living. You see him in his office, you see him at work, but you never find out what he does. That's Rashad. I have zero idea what Rashad Beard does for his day job. And at this point, I don't want to know, because we've been having him on.
Man. He's a spy. Yeah,
we've been having him on for 2.5 years at this point. I still don't know what he does. I just know that he's like, can't work this, or can't come on the air this week. I'm in Canada for work. I'm in Paris for work. First off, I don't actually know that he's in those places. That might be his cover. Rashad might be the actual James Bond. Sit down, Idris Elba. Rashad Beard is 007 now.
I think we need to go with that forever. That's what he does.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got to get to this Georgia thing. Kirby Smart pushing back against allegations laid down by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Do y'all care? Sincerely, do you care? Like, does this stuff register to you? Because on one hand, I'd like to think these are kind of massive allegations that kind of dim the light on college football. On the flip side, I also know that we're 44 days away from week 1. And I know that on that morning, we're all going to wake up and think zero of this. So these stories, do they impact the way that you watch football, or are they nothing more than a foundation for boat talk when the season starts up? We'll talk about that and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, stay right here. Got a live read. We'll be right back.
Hey Greenville, Thomas Rhett here. My home team tour 23 is on sale now.
Thomas Rhett, Home Team Tour 23 with special guests Cole Swindell and Nate Smith.
So one of the, I don't want to say coolest things about the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Star Awards, it's a mouthful, but I say it so well, is watching people who aren't normally nervous get nervous. The people, because even though there are a lot of introverts on radio, including myself, watching them sitting there nervously waiting to see who won. It's you can look around and see it, especially with people that you know really well, and suddenly they're a ball of nerves. And yes, both Mark and both Mark and Rob were nervous. I'm nervous too. I mean, hyped. I mean, sit on your hands like, yeah, because you want to win. You absolutely do. Funny part about Mark being so nervous is he couldn't talk to me because I was a mime. I was just explaining how the most confident people in the world are usually radio people, but you get to that awards thing and you look around and everybody's nervous. Yeah, it's interesting. Trey, if it did, I'd be rolling in the dough right now. So no, it does not get you a raise. And some may
Lots of be a millionaire.
Yeah, some may downplay it, but it's an amazing award. It's awesome to be there and to receive it.
And I'll tell you, it's to me the coolest part about it is you're being recognized by peers. You're being recognized within the industry. There is no harsher critic of radio than other radio people. So to be recognized by peers is, I think, what makes that an award you want to win.
Yeah, and this year we're like taking the whole family.
Yeah.
19 out of 21 awards.
Odyssey got nominated for. Oh,
yeah. How out of breath will he be when he gets back?
The hair's very bouncy today, man.
That's not a bad thing.
Oh, here's games on. Yeah. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Fan Upstate. Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, is over on the other side of the metaphorical glass and the literal board today. If you would like to be a part of the radio broadcast, 844-326-3663. 844-326-3663 is the number. You can also text us on the text line at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we'll read them on the air. You can tweet or threads me at The Rob Brown Show. You can do the same for Lonzo on Twitter, at Lonzo on Word, and you can get it, everybody, on the Fan Upstate. We'd love to have you join us on the show via the medium of your choice. Oh, by the way, I have a fun thing that I'm doing without asking for permission first tomorrow on the show. Lonzo, I am going to open up the off-air voicemail. I'm going to put out a phone number that you guys can call at any point, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and leave any voicemail you want to leave. For me, for Zoe, for the state, anything you want to leave, it's wide open.
I
Hate this decision.
I have PTSD from doing that when I first started working here 20 something years ago, before like the internet and stuff. I was one of the people who had to take all those and record them and then get rid of the bad ones and some things that people were saying. This was on WRD. So, I mean, there were some rants that were like, I went home not feeling well on the days when I had to do that. So please refrain from doing that. I'm sure it's going to be good comment, bad comment. Rob sucks. Alonzo sucks. Mark sucks. Diesel's awesome. And then Ray will be on there like every other message.
I hope so. Only if we do it right.
And I recognize your voice, Ray, so I'll know it's you.
I will have that. I will have that number for you tomorrow. I'm so excited about it. All right. Uncensored, unscripted. Say whatever you want. Have at it. My ego can take it. Probably. We'll see. So I'm setting that up after work today, and you guys will have it available for you tomorrow. Can't wait.
I am so uncomfortable right now.
I know. That's what lets me know it's going to be great.
But you're doing it, right? So
yeah,
you're the one. I mean, I'll help if you want me to.
The only ones you're going to hear are the ones that I go, yeah, this is going on there.
Okay. All right.
After I'm assuming, censor them greatly.
Yeah. So, okay.
I'll put in my headphones when I listen to
I would like to maybe get the once over before we put the, just because sometimes things get missed and it's better for two people to listen. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
And some people are clever and they'll try to slip something in there, seeing if it gets by.
Skrilla said, anything you want, anything. Yeah. It is going to be uncensored, unscripted. You guys can have at it.
I just, I want a lot of hair and beard tips on there. That's what I want.
I love that you think those are the kind of calls we're going to get.
I'm trying to.
Is it think or hope? It's hope.
No,
right?
I'm trying to influence. That's what I'm doing here.
You are
okay?
an influencer.
Yes.
Kirby Smart and Georgia Athletic Director Josh Brooks went all out yesterday. Tuesday, they held a news conference. And in said news conference, they decided to take a shot at the news. Specifically, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and they took issue with the report that we told you about earlier this week on the radio broadcast.
I thought print was dead.
Well, see, I thought they were going after Huey Lewis's band.
Ah.
Yeah. No, it turns out it was actually the news. Not Huey Lewis's The News, just the news. What a weird name for a band.
Well, can anyone name a member of the news?
No, you don't need to. Yeah, they're just the news, right? It's just the news.
If you want plain vanilla music,
the news is for you.
The news is your guys.
The AJC reported in June 11th that 11 players from Kirby Smart's tenure have remained with the program despite women reporting violent encounters to the police, the university, or both. Kirby and Josh Brooks said the reporting was, and I quote, misleading and irresponsible at the news conference on Tuesday. Smart said, per The Athletic, and I quote, we take these allegations extremely serious. I take these allegations extremely serious. We do not tolerate sexual misconduct in our organization. I'm a football coach. I'm responsible for this program, and it starts with me. I see this through the lens of I have a wife and a daughter. When I think about these situations, I think about them. It's personal to me, but I will not tolerate false accusations that this program at this university condones sexual misconduct. We have no tolerance for sexual assault or abuse, never have, and never will. The news conference was not the beginning and the end of it. However, they also sent a 9-page letter to the AJC demanding a retraction of the story, saying it was, quote, replete with errors, unsubstantiated allegations, innuendo, and possibly even fabrications, end quote. Brooks told reporters that the report had, quote, inaccurate and misleading reporting, end quote. And that's what prompted the news conference, as both he and Smart wanted to set the record straight. Smart added that he respected the role of media in reporting on things that happen in and around his program, but he asked for facts to carry the day, according to SaturdayDownSouth.com. Smart said, per Dogs 24/7's Jordan Hill, who quoted him, quote, I might not always like the news that gets reported. I might not always like that news. It's not always positive and good things, but I know that it needs to be shared and it needs to be shared accurately. All I ask is avoiding twisting the facts and sensationalizing serious issues. It's never okay. Work to get the facts correct and accurate is what we ask, end quote. I started reading the 9-page letter this morning. I'll be honest with you, I did not get all the way through it. A lot of it is redundant. A lot of it is however, very pointed. One of the parts of it that I found very, very interesting. The letter was written by a gentleman by the name of Michael Raber. He is the general counsel of the UGA Athletic Association. And in the letter was this, quote, this article is the latest in a series by Mr. Judd focused on the UGA football program in the aftermath of the tragic accident on January 15th of this year. We have strongly disagreed with many aspects of Mr. Judd's reporting over the last 6 months, but for an organization whose newsroom ethics code, and then he links to the AJC's ethics code, for an organization whose newsroom ethics code states that professional integrity is the cornerstone of our credibility, the most recent article crossed the new line. Mr. Judd's article is replete with errors, unsubstantiated allegations, innuendo, and possibly even fabrications. We do not write to you lightly. We are accustomed to the rough scrutiny of a robust press, and we appreciate its central importance in a free society. But this article stands out in its reckless disregard for the truth and its imposition of a damaging narrative unsupported by the facts. The AJC's newsroom ethics code states, quote, in our news reports, we do not lie, we do not fabricate, we do not distort images or audio in a manner that is misleading, end quote. Yet, several parts of Mr. Judd's article beg the very concerning conclusion that aspects of his recording are indeed fabricated, whether knowingly or recklessly, end quote. That was a part of the 9-page letter that stood out to me. Now, my first gut reaction was, well, then point out the things that are wrong, right? Now, I will absolutely agree that the AJC and anyone else, right? This is a philosophical cornerstone that I have carried throughout my life. If you make a proof positive claim, it is on you to prove the claim, right? That's what that means, proof positive. That means you have to bring positive proof to the table. So if you say someone is lying, you have to prove that they are lying. You are making a positive statement. You can say, I do not believe that is the truth. You don't have to prove anything there. You're saying that they have not provided enough evidence of their claim. So bring this to the table. But I will also tell you, I have not read through all 9 pages of the letter yet. I did not get the time before the show started. I will hopefully be able to finish that letter after the conclusion of today's show and have my thoughts on it tomorrow. But I will say I'm interested to see, and maybe they did in this letter. I have not gotten there yet. But maybe they have done that. Maybe they can put on the table. Here's what I will say. One of the reports that they are calling into question is the report that we told you about earlier in the week, a report that said that after one of Georgia's recruits was accused of sexual impropriety, he was brought in by a detective and questioned about it. And when he was questioned about it, there were 2 parts that stood out to me. The first one was that the detective investigating the claim referred to Georgia's football team as, and I quote, my beloved Bulldogs. The second thing that stood out to me was that one of Georgia's coaches, a guy who was and has been accused of kind of being the cleaner for Georgia, right, was allowed into the investigation's questioning to counsel that player. Not an attorney, a coach. Those things seem to be relatively well backed up with evidence. Is Georgia going to dispute those things? The second thing I'd be curious about is Georgia going to dispute the numbers? As we mentioned, the AJC reported that 11 players have been accused or charged with sexual and violent encounters in the last couple of years and are still on the program. Is Georgia going to dispute those numbers, right? All I'm going to say is this. It's dirty, it's gross, and I don't like it. And my question for you, dear listeners, is it going to impact you at all? Right? I had a texter last year that really got my goat, so to speak, because we were talking about, and I don't remember which team, but we were talking about one of the football teams that had like a number of arrests in a brief run. And the texter was like, Rob, I don't know why you're wasting your time talking about this. None of us care, right? None of us care. None of us care. And I'm like, oh, come on. I got to believe people care. I got to believe people care. I got to believe people aren't okay with this. And then I realized he might not be wrong, because football season rolls around and we're all watching just like normal, right? So my question is, where does this register for you as a college football fan, right? Where does this register for you? I can point out my own, I don't want to call it hypocrisy. Maybe my own apathy is a better choice of words.
Do Clemson fans mention Deshaun Watson without apology?
I don't know, right? Like, here's what I will point out, Lonzo. I think the correct word
and
is apathy.
this has nothing to do with the Clemson Carolina. I mean, we know what Deshaun Watson was accused of. We know how much money we kind of know how much money he paid out.
Yep.
Can you talk about someone who has all those accusations, but was one of the best players to ever come through your school?
Like I said, I think the correct word is apathy, right? I can sit here all day and say that I am anti-domestic violence. I'm never going to support someone who beats women, right? On the flip side, the New Orleans Saints have had a handful of guys charged with that over the past 10 years, and I haven't missed a game, right? Is that me being a hypocrite? Is that me being apathetic? Is that me saying I still enjoy this product and I'm not supporting that one player, I'm supporting the rest of the team? I don't know. If you're a Georgia fan, how do you feel about this? If you're a Georgia fan, are you looking at the state of your program right now? Are you looking at these accusations and allegations? Are you looking at the response from Kirby Smart and going, I feel gross? Or are you looking at this and going, that sucks, it is what it is? Or are you looking at this and saying, I don't care?
See, as we pointed out the last couple of days, this has been Georgia's reputation for decades. So, and people are still fans of the school. So I think that's the answer right there. This is the accusations or Georgia players being arrested is the norm during the summer. It just is.
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I'm aware of the reputation of the Georgia Bulldogs. I also know that there are a lot of schools in a lot of states that have the same reputation, or the narrative is said that they have the same reputation, right? Miami really hasn't been the Michael Irvin Miami, the Jimmy Johnson Miami in 30 plus years, but they still got the reputation, right? They still got the reputation. Georgia has had that reputation for a long time, that, you know, the Bulldog faithful in and around Athens let their players off the hook. Tuscaloosa's got that reputation. Less about crimes and more about benefits, right? Every Alabama player for a couple of years there was driving a brand new Dodge Charger with no miles on it. That was the thing. And there were players driving around in new Chargers, right? That they go, oh, I bought it. People are going, how?
So now they don't have to hide it.
NIL, baby. So it's I have gotten to the point where I look at Georgia and I go, yeah, it's kind of gross. It's kind of gross. I really don't love it. But I am equally curious on the sociological side about you guys as fans, specifically Georgia fans. Do you look at this and go, I'm kind of grossed out, I hope it gets fixed? Is there a point where, coming off of back-to-back natties, you go, enough's enough, I'm done? Do you not care? I'm just curious as to how Georgia fans feel about it. Texas said, nope, Georgia fans I know are trash humans, so it fits. I still hate the dogs. I will tell you this. I got a couple of Georgia fans that I am dear friends with, right? I don't hold it against them as people. But I still would ask the question, how do you feel about what's going on? Where are you guys at with this right now? 11 players during Kirby Smart's tenure. Now, it really works out to being what, like 4 players a year? But that's still a pretty high amount. And then you factor in, as the whipped cream on the disgusting sundae, the reckless drivings, the dozen players just this year alone getting arrested or charged with ridiculous levels of speeding, right? And some folks have said this is the fact that Georgia has allowed this story to be so prevalent is because if we're sitting here talking about the speeding, we are not talking about the sexual allegations. I don't know. It's just, it's Georgia, man. It's Georgia. It's college football. How does it impact you? Sexual assault's gross. The speeding stuff is not okay. What what it ultimately comes down to here is there are people being hurt, 2 people killed by these actions. And what's happening? What's being done about it? Is anything being done about it? It's a weird conversation to have. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we will wrap up this hour of the radio broadcast. We got to talk some Carolina Panther football coming up later on. Rashad Beard will rejoin us next week. Unable to make it today. We'll have him on the air next week. By the way, next week when we talk, we will be just a couple of days away from the start of training camp over in Spartanburg. So we'll have a full breakdown of what we expect to see out of the dog days of July. Zoe and I will have that discussion later on in the show. We got some Major League Baseball. We got some international soccer and more all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. That was actually a way better acceptance speech than thanking hot dogs. I would like to thank hot dogs.
Question is, how many people dress up as cowboys this year?
Not enough.
I got to practice going. Ma'am.
Howdy.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Howdy's a big one. Got to have howdy down. Howdy.
Maybe I prefer the mini pearl howdy. Yes, my mom hated country, but she watched Hee Haw. I never understood that. Except for she said some of our cousins were on Hee Haw. So, yeah.
2 activists in Germany who glued their hands to the middle of a roadway with epoxy while protesting global warming may have to have their hands amputated. Oops.
Hey, if you believe it's worth it, then I guess it's still stupid.
Yeah, then I guess it's still stupid.
It's dumb. Okay, what did you prove?
Listen, I believe global warming is real, and I think we should be taking dramatic measures to stop it. You can't have my hands for it. Sorry, I need them.
Then you don't really believe it, do you?
Things.
Got to be willing to give a body part for your beliefs. As long as it takes people like people coming out and try to glue their hands on the basketball court and stuff, as long as it takes them to glue someone just needs to, full on tackle them.
Oh, you haven't seen that video yet? Somebody did. At one of the NBA games, there was a lady who was moving seat by seat closer to the court. One of the security guards caught eyes on her and positioned himself like 3 over. She made a break for the court, and he just smoked her before she could get where she wanted to be. Let me see if I can find it.
So is that worth it? And what kind of attention do you bring to your cause? Did you make a difference?
No, because she never even got to the point where anybody knows who the hell she is or what she was protesting.
Now, see, streakers are just, they're exhibitionists. they don't have a cause other than wanting to be naked. So, I mean, you know. So do they have to cut their hands off of the road, or just how they get their?
Yeah, they cut the concrete around their hands.
Oh,
so there's a
the
picture
concrete.
of them walking together. There's two of them. They didn't even separate them. They literally have two people with their hands, and they didn't epoxy it. They epoxied all the way around it, so it looks like their hand is in the concrete. And there's two of them holding up a big chunk of concrete. I'm like, just make them carry that. Just make them carry that till it breaks or falls off or whatever.
Although I don't know if you get prison time for that, but when you're in the yard, I mean, you don't need to lift weights anymore. You
Ask
lift your hands.
Dom.
Just lift your hands.
All right, so we're looking.
Sure, this is the right one because you seemed to make it to the court, or was that the aftermath after getting?
Is after it gets smoked. Watch the top. All right, at the very top of the screen, the guy in the red shirt. Want two people above him. All right, so here she goes, making a break for it, and then watch the security guard. Oh, why would it buffer when I finally get it pulled up? All right, here we go.
What's going on here?
Are you kidding me?
Maybe they didn't want you to see the impact.
Why does this happen every time? The video plays fine until I share it, and then it buffers.
Somebody else here who's
All right, I think they show a replay. Just dragged off. Like that's unceremonious.
Was Van Gundy on the call there?
I don't remember who was on the call. But there was a second lady who had a camera. Please don't buffer this time. Please show it. Oh, all right. I'll find a better video. Anyway, she comes off the court, and the security guard saw she was setting up for it, and, I mean, just smokes her onto the hardwood. All right, real quick. Texter said a second ago, oh, Believer, our buddy Believer texts the show. And he's going back to a conversation we had earlier the week, the self-checkout receipt checker lady, right? He said, Rob, pertains to your Twitter about the receipt check on the walkout. It's because you just look sketchy, LOL. Be normal, and they'll leave. Be normal, and they'll leave you. Be normal, Believer. It's because you look sketchy, Rob. Be normal, and they'll leave you alone. How am I supposed to be more normal?
Well, everything.
How am I not normal?
Everything matches. That makes you shady because most people don't do that. I mean, the things you want to stand out for might be the reason why you're getting picked.
So if I roll up into the Wally World with a coordinating outfit, I mean allegedly with a coordinating outfit, with a coordinating outfit, no, come on. What do you mean? Look normal, Rob. What do you? Thanks, Believer.
Comb your hair over your eyes, put your hat on backwards, and look at the ground.
Texter said, what did Pat do to Skip? Going back to the first segment where I said Pat dropped a bomb on Skip. He was giving he was bringing DeMar Hamlin up. He was giving DeMar Hamlin credit for, dying and then coming back to life and then playing football again this year, or at least setting up, trying to make the team. And he said he was talking about how, the first responders and the training staff were out there fighting for DeMar's life. DeMar was fighting for his own life. He said, and then there's Skip Bayless tweeting, get that dead body off the field. There's playoff implications on the line. And then he pointed out that tweet, that gross tweet, is still up. And he said, hashtag delete the tweet. And then he circled back around. He finishes this heartwarming presentation for DeMar Hamlin, and then he gets to the end and he's like, no, seriously, Skip, delete that tweet. It's gross. Good. That kind of stuff's got to get called out. It really does. There's a bunch of texts that have come in. We're going to get to all of them coming up on the radio broadcast in the next hour of the show. Got a couple of baseball stories to get to. We got to get to our 25% quota. We've really only done the Derby and the All-Star game so far. So we're going to take a look at the first half, take a look at the second half.
Wait. So why would the quota work when there's no actual baseball happening right
There was.
now?
We had a game last night.
Was there?
No, 2 nights ago. We had the All-Star game. We didn't talk about it that much.
Right. Which shows you how much the All-Star game meant.
We are
to
in
Rob.
the regular season.
Yeah, but, it was an afterthought. You talked about the home run derby a bunch, but the actual All-Star game, you almost forgot it.
That's a very fair point. It's a very fair point because the game was good. The game was good. There was drama. There was a Hollywood script potential.
When did we get to that, like near the end of the third hour? I think like the second segment of the third hour, I believe.
I think it was.
And it was, we haven't talked about that yet.
And that's fair.
That's
fair.
It was the only sports that was going on that night, and you didn't lead with it.
I wonder if I am a part of the problem, or if that is a symptom of the bigger problem that baseball has, if it's a problem at all, right? Because baseball's regular season numbers up. We're going to talk about that. Also want to talk about something that Ronald Acuna Jr. could do in the second half that has not been done before. Could have one of the greatest power speed combo seasons of all time. Alonzo, who's Ronald Acuna Jr. play for?
The Braves.
The Atlanta Braves. So we'll get some Braves baseball in later on in the show as well. Plus, another foreign game, this one further away than ever before. And it lends, I think, some credence to a major theory I've had. Plus, we've said Dan Snyder must have had Roger Goodell in the NFL by the cojones. A new report says he did. What? All that more coming up the next hour of the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Yes, there was a lot of Braves greatness in the All-Star game. Absolutely was. Joey B, I'm going to tell you, I have played the Immaculate Grid a couple of times. And I'm going to tell you, there are, like, if I get 3 a day, I had a good day, like a real good day. I have not even come close to filling one in correctly yet.
Gotta say,
close.
No idea what you guys are talking about.
Right.
I'm guessing it has to do with baseball.
I'll show you. Let me pull it up. So this is the Immaculate Grid. Let me get it pulled up here. It's kind of like a sports Wordle, right? In that, it gives you columns and rows. Across the top, Rockies, Padres, 500 home runs in their career. Across the bottom, or across the down, Detroit, Athletics, Giants. And every square combines 2 clues. So your job is to figure out what baseball player the clues pertain to. So, for instance, off the top of my head, 500 home runs in their career and played for the Tigers, I know is Miggy Cabrera. So you plug that in, and that's the answer to the clue.
So if it wasn't, would that,
it will turn red.
Okay.
And the reason it's the Immaculate Grid. So, Giants and 500 home runs is obviously Barry Bonds, right? So we would plug Barry in there. Athletics, an athletics player who hit 500 career home runs, I'm going to assume is going to be Big Mac, and it is, right? So you guess the baseball player who has the 2 things in common. So now we're looking for players who played for both of these teams. We need a player who played for both the Padres and the Giants, a player who played for the Padres and the A's, the Padres and the Tigers, a player who played for the Rockies and the Tigers, etc. Does anybody in the chat have any guesses? If you want to play, in fact, we could even do this during the show. So if you got any guesses you want to throw down there, you're welcome to. I'm not going to lie. This is the part that gets me every time because you're trying to remember a player who played for both teams.
Yeah, but this would be easy to cheat on, wouldn't it?
Yes,
You
but
just
that, I
look
mean,
it
if you
up.
cheat, what's the point of playing the game, right?
I guess it depends on what game it is.
So does anybody have a good? All right. So CJ Chrome was going to be my guess for that one. And the answer is not coming up. Let me try it that way. All right. Nice job, Joey B. Anybody else want to take another stab here? Where are we putting David Wells? I feel like I should know that.
In the sturdy category.
David Wells in the sturdy category. So Wells is going San Diego, Detroit? Yep. All right. So now we need somebody who played. I should. Oh, new commercial.
It's the Atlantic Coast Conference. Yes, the All Cupcakes Conference. The Atlantic Coast Conference, and they're hosting their media days in Charlotte, which the Rob Brown Show will be broadcasting from live on Tuesday, July 25th through Thursday, July 27th. And I'll be there for Clemson. The Rob Brown Show and Offsides with Mark Ryan live from ACC Media Days, July 25th through 27th. Presented by your local Ingles Markets, only on the Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show, now 19.
Wow.
Very seriously. So this goes.
All right. And by the way, Joey B's not. Joey B's.
I got taken into the office over something, and that
I didn't write
and that was okay.
I didn't write that.
All right.
That was all him.
Years ago, I gotta let it go.
I didn't write that.
Let it go. Oh no, it's let it snow. Never mind.
No, it's not. It's let it go.
Is it?
You were
I
right.
don't know. Well, whatever. As we
All
know, me and letting things go, not something that happens very often. So
Here's one of the problems. One of the problems is this is all-time baseball. So we could any one of these players could be from the 60s or 70s.
so like Babe Ruth could pop
Yeah.
up there, or
Yeah.
Ted Williams, or someone
Yeah.
like that.
So
Okay.
like if they put like Yankees Red Sox, it could be Johnny Damon, it could be Babe Ruth, like it could be any of them. Giants Rockies is the Big Cat. Nice job, Joey B. The Big Cat.
Gabe was in first break.
I feel like this game is just me getting 3 and Joey B cleaning it up. All right, we'll come back to it later. Anyway, that's Immaculate Grid, and it's a lot of fun. It might be something we do on the air all together from now on. I like it. I like it. And away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Hope you're having a lovely Thursday so far. We got a lot of stuff we need to get to today on the radio broadcast. If you'd like to be a part of the show, if you want to join the Armada, text us 71307. Start your text with FAN. Tweet us or threads us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word. And, of course, you can hit us up on the phone lines at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. And let's have some fun in this hour of the show. Real quick, I want to spend just a minute on this. Not a lot of time. We're going to hit a couple of different stories here on the fly. We'll start with this one. Tom Izzo, legendary head coach at Michigan State University of the men's basketball program, has decided now's the time to stand up, ladies and gentlemen. He's down in Orlando. He told ESPN at the NBPA Top 100 camp that he is not in favor of expanding the NCAA March Madness tournament beyond the current 68 teams. It is currently at 68. We've obviously got the play-in before we get to the round of 64 to start the tournament off. It has been reported a couple of times that the NCAA is considering expanding the tournament and including even more teams. Now, we don't necessarily have a format for that. We don't necessarily have a number for that. It's just they're looking at expanding the tournament as it stands right now. You have had some people who are in favor of it. For instance, and this one actually kind of surprised me a little bit, Kansas coach Bill Self said he is in favor of expanding the tournament. Why? He said, quote, I think what will determine expansion is the portal, because there are going to be more good teams, because I think you'll be able to have less teams take dips. Everybody will stay at a higher level. It might be time to really get serious about expansion. If the portal does what we think it's going to do, it's going to make it so it will be time, end quote. Jim Larinaga, University of Miami, he is in favor of expansion. He said, quote, I've been saying we should go to 96 forever. If the NCAA tournament is the biggest goal for every college basketball team, but only 18% of the kids get to experience it, and each year at least half the field is from the year before and the year before that, it only makes sense to expand it and give more college student athletes the experience, end quote. Bruce Pearl said, I think when we went from 64 to 68, it didn't hurt anything. I would be in favor of adding a handful of teams. You can say, well, every year there are going to be 4 or 5 teams that are left out of the tournament. Okay, so let's add 4. I'm not for blowing it up, though. I'm not for 96, end quote. So you've got some guys who are in. Larinaga is a guy that's got a lot of respect. Bill Self, a guy that has a lot of respect amongst the college basketball circles, and they're in favor of expanding as high as 96, maybe more. And I think one thing that happens, Lonzo, is we all tend to view college basketball through the prism of college football, right? Because 96 sounds like a lot of teams.
It sounds like they're just wanting to add more teams so there'd be more things to bet on.
I think it's that. I think
this is driven by Vegas.
I think it's driven by television revenue, right? Because think about how
successful. Well, that too, yeah.
How successful are the first 2 days of the tournament? Wildly. The first really 4 days of the tournament, the round of 64, the round of 32. It's 4 of the most compelling days in sports entertainment. And I think the NCAA is looking and going, what if we had 2 more days? Now it's the first 6 days of March Madness that are just bananas crazy in terms of content, number of games played, teams that are in. And they're placing it behind the argument of, okay, 64 teams is less than 20% of the number of universities that play collegiate basketball that are eligible to make that tournament. Right? It's a wildly large number of teams that can get in. And Larinaga is saying, all right, wait a minute. If we have this thing, and we're saying that this thing is the thing, it's the biggest thing, it's the thing of the things in our sport, and we're only allowing a very small number of players to experience that thing, I take a little caution there. Because as I've pointed out in the past, and maybe this makes me a cynic, maybe this makes me a pessimist, I don't know. I get very skeptical when coaches and athletic directors and administrators say, we want to change a thing for the betterment of student athletes. I'm very skeptical about that. Because very rarely do they say, we want to change this thing for the betterment of student athletes, and it doesn't increase revenue, right? There's a lot of things you could do for the betterment of student athletes that would decrease revenue for schools, for universities, for colleges, and for the NCAA, and those things don't get done because they would decrease revenue. And we don't like that very much, do we? No, of course not. So when I hear these guys go, we're going to let more more students come to the floor. It's like, it's also going to increase revenue. But in this case, that sounds good, right? Like, I can't slap it down as BS. Like, more kids would get to play. That's fair. But I will say this. While you are going to have a Furman beating a Virginia here and there, while you are going to have a UMBC beating, that's right, also Virginia here and there, while you're going to have the occasional 15-2 upsets, how many of those 15 seeds really make a run in the tournament? Not very many, right? How many of those 16 seeds, the one that's done it so far? Or did we get to 2 this year? I don't remember. How many of those 16 seeds win a second game? Not very many, right? The reality is, whether you like it or not, there's only a handful of teams that have the qualifications, have the talent, have the ability to win this tournament. And I think the more watered down the tournament it becomes, the less impactful it is. I mean, I'm not still going to watch every damn game they put on television. I am, because it's awesome. But I think there is a number, and I don't know if that number is 68 or not, but I think there is a number where I would consider the tournament watered down. I think there is a number where I would say, it's too much.
So when it starts on Monday and for the first round to go all the way through the weekend, maybe then it's too much?
It's not about the time to me.
Because if they're going to add more teams, they're going to probably want to add a day, aren't they?
I would suspect too.
Yeah.
Right? I would suspect too. If we go to 90,
and
96.
Do you eliminate the play-in games?
It's a good question. I would say they probably go in, right? These teams, the NCAA loves to say those teams made the tournament. The play-in teams made the tournament. It's like half of them did, but whatever. But if you're at that spot, it just feels like those teams would be the next teams that are in the field, and then you still got 20 more to add or whatever that number is, 30 more to add. But it does feel like there is a number somewhere between 68 and 96, in my opinion, where you water down the tournament so much, right? If you get to the point where you are adding 18 seed Northwest South Florida State University for the blind, like, does anybody think that? I mean, yes, maybe they
does that place actually exist? Because you threw that out there like it was a real place.
No, I don't think that Northwest Florida or East Northwest South State Florida University for the blind actually exists. Sorry, I'd pull for them. I don't know what they'd be called, but I'd pull for them. When you start adding that many teams, I think you get to the point where you're adding team. We already have teams that we know can't win it, right? We already have teams we know cannot win it. How is adding more going to help? Now, don't get me wrong. I do love the fact that, for instance, you could put more mid-majors in. I go back to the year before last. The SoCon Conference. The Mocs and the Dins played one of the best championship conference games I've ever seen. Remember that? The dagger shot from the Moccasins that sent them in over Furman as SoCon champions. And then this year, Furman got them back. And the Dins got to go dance because of another great conference championship game. If the tournament is expanded, both of those teams are getting in both of those years. And don't tell me they can't have some impact, because both of those teams won a game in the tournament. Yeah. So you add more teams, you're going to get more mid-majors. But here's the reality, and I don't mean this to sound awful. When's the last time we saw a SoCon national champion? The champ goes every year. When's the last time we saw a Southern Conference national champ? I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm saying the odds that it happens are super low. And so there comes a number where you've watered down the tournament. And all that happens is you're doing it for these upsets, because these upsets are fun. They're exciting. I'm not disagreeing. If Furman played Virginia last year, which they did in the tournament and they won 10 times, Virginia wins 9 of those, but Furman won the 1. And that mattered, and it was excellent. And I was hyped for it. I wore my FU hoodie up to New York City just for that game. Just for that game, I wore that hoodie up there, right? I'm here for it. The upsets are what makes it exciting, but at some point, you're going to create so many extra games that very rarely are we going to truly see the best of the best make it to the end every year. You get to the point where I think you compromise the integrity of the national championship in favor of 2 more extra days of basketball and the profits that come behind it, right? Again, I don't say this as any disrespect to teams out of the Southern Conference or the All-American Conference or whatever. I don't say this as disrespect to them, but how many times do those teams win it, right? A San Diego State earned their way into the 64. They made their way to the Final Four. But if you add 2 more games for every team, the odds that you get those types of runs go down. And I think that takes away from it as well. I probably would be fine. I would honestly be fine expanding the play-in, right? I'd be fine if you expanded the play-in to include more of the mid-majors and give the mid-majors the chance to truly send their best. The last 2 years, the Southern Conference should have got 2 teams in. They should have got Chattanooga and Furman in both years. Instead, they got one year and the other the next. I'm fine with expanding the tournament to allow that to happen, but going to 96 means you're taking Furman, you're taking Chattanooga, and you're taking, I don't know, whoever was 3rd and 4th. At some point, the SoCon's not sending teams that are going to be competitive with the Dukes and the Michigan States. Now, and I'm going to get in trouble for this, it's not meant to be an insult to those teams, because those teams are going to look and go, the only way we're ever going to catch up is by getting the opportunity to play in those games, right? How big? We had Drew Ingram, the associate athletic director at Furman, on the show, 3 weeks after March? He stopped by, dropped off some stuff. We talked to him. He said, you don't understand how valuable that game against Virginia was for us. He's like, when we upset Virginia, he told us the website traffic to Furman went up like 300% within an hour, right? Told me that they are going to get more admissions to the school this year because they got on the radar of teams, of people who didn't know that they existed. It's great for the small schools, but there's a balance between what's beneficial for the small schools and the watering down of the second most popular American sports event on the calendar. And I don't know where that balance is. Are you guys for the expansion? What is the number you'd be comfortable with? Do we go from 68 to 75 and we have a play-in tournament? Joey B said, turn the NIT into a play-in tournament for the NCAAs. Play 2 games in each 14 bracket on campus, and each winner of those 14 bracket goes to the dance as 12 seats. Again, fine idea. I'm not against expansion. I'm against grandiose expansion that waters down the tournament, right? I don't need a 500 team out of a mid-major to get in just for the sake of having a few more games. Those teams aren't going to win. All you're doing is making it harder for the best of the best to play when you're expanding by that many games. I don't know. I'm for it. I think I'm for a slight expansion. I'm going to go with, I think I fall on board with Bruce Pearl. Little expansion. Let's go with 4 more teams. Let's double up the play-in tournament. Let's start with that. And let's find out, by expanding maybe 4 teams at a time, expanding the play-in tournament, let's find out where that line is where you go, okay, now we're to the point where it's not competitive anymore. The teams that are getting in aren't competitive anymore. I think we can go up by 4 a year for 2-3 years. I don't think 96 is the way to go. Let's take a break. When we come back here in just a minute, we got a few more things I want to get into. I want to get into some Major League Baseball. We got to get into Carolina just a little bit. They've got a couple of players going into the Hall of Honor that I want to talk about. We got some NBA I got to get in here as well as the Summer League comes to a conclusion. And ladies and gentlemen, Tim Tebow's in the news. I know. And Zoe, it's a hockey story. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Eagles.
All right, guys, one more live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me.
Can I tell you how much I'm jealous of the name Fat Fabio that you carried?
ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Because I'm not cutting the hair until the wedding. I've decided. And I just sent my mom a gif of Fabio. And then I was like, that's such a great nickname. Such a great nickname.
Right now, you know.
At ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO.
Once you immortalize it at bars, it's yours.
The smartest way to hire.
The biggest corruption scandal in NYPD history. Harlem in the 90s. 30 cops crossing the line.
Was it a common practice to break into apartments which were suspected drug locations? Yes. For money, for drugs, whatever was in there.
The Set, a new Odyssey original podcast.
Who's gonna catch us? What are police? You got into the game back then, paying money hand over foot.
Listen to all 10 episodes of The Set right now, exclusively on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by Taco Bell. In the morning, Taco Bell keeps it toned down and simple, like the breakfast crunch wrap, with fluffy eggs, sausage, melty cheese, and a crispy hash brown and a grilled tortilla. Nothing too wild, just delicious. Taco Bell breakfast, served until 11 a.m.
Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Friday Eve episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, there is a select few people who are actually capable of winning Super Bowl next year. I will reveal my list to you Thursday.
He won't do it.
For ACC and SEC preview series continues, plus another great match. State's favorite athlete.
King and I will talk
I know
to you.
I know how this is going to sound, but he will not be allowed to do that.
I'm not allowed to grow it out till the wedding. I'm doing it anyway. What is she going to do? I'm not engaged to you anymore because your hair is long? What a breakup story that'd be. What a tasty little groove, huh?
It's called red flannel.
This is the kind of groove that I play on stage because it's like, it sounds good. Zero skill required.
He's getting it now, though.
All right. Let's get some stuff in here. As soon as I brought it up, as soon as I mentioned it, you guys pop off. What mean thing is Rob going to say about Tim Tebow today? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not. I have never said in my life a mean word about Tim Tebow. I never have and I never will. Tim Tebow's a great guy. He's a great dude. Unlike, I'm assuming, probably any of the rest of you, have actually spent some QT with Timmy T. All right?
I know Tim Tebow personally.
Personally. He's a great dude. I'm a huge fan of Tim Tebow, the person. All I ever said was he's not an NFL quarterback. He's just not. That's not mean. That's true. There's a difference.
Was he a college quarterback?
He was a great college quarterback.
Okay,
maybe the greatest college quarterback of all time. He just wasn't an NFL quarterback.
Was he a baseball player?
In that he played baseball. He was a decent minor league baseball player.
He did some things in baseball that you couldn't do.
He played right down the road in Columbia for a while, right? Didn't he play for the Fireflies? I think he did.
He was all around.
Yeah, but I think he played for the Fireflies for a while. He was a decent minor league baseball player. He wasn't a big leaguer. He was a decent minor league baseball player. He was a legendary college quarterback, and he was not an NFL quarterback. The only thing that I've ever said about Tebow that could even be considered mean was that he was selfish as an NFL player. Because if Tim Tebow would have done what Taysom Hill does for the Saints, Tim Tebow would maybe still be in the league today.
Rob, do you think of yourself as just a producer?
No.
If you thought of yourself as just a producer, you wouldn't be on that side of the mic.
Correct.
You thought of yourself as a host.
Right.
So he
No.
thought of himself as a quarterback, and he couldn't think of himself as anything else.
Oh, I got you, dog. I think of myself as a host. However, when the boss man down the hall goes, Rob, I need you to go in as a producer, do I go, nope, I'm only going to host. That's all no. I go, you got it, boss. No problem.
I know some people who would actually do that, though.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I know you do. I'm not one of them. I am.
They wouldn't be called upon because they're not as versatile as you are, though.
Now, if I got told by the boss, you're only a producer, would I have a problem with that? Yeah, I would. Right? In which case I would consider if I wanted to stay in the biz or not. Tebow had every right to go, no, I'm a quarterback.
So what you're saying is that producers are lower class citizens, and you wouldn't want to go back to that?
Not at all.
That's what I heard.
I'm saying I spent a lot of time sharpening myself to do this job, to be on this side of the metaphorical glass. But if what's best for the team is for me to sit over there, as long as I'm getting opportunities to do all of it, then I'm fine. Tebow didn't do that. Tebow said, I'm hosting or I'm nothing.
Right. Tebow considered himself a quarterback, and that was it.
Right. And that's selfish.
But how's that selfish?
Because he could have been a wonderful player for his teammates in Jacksonville.
We don't know that for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Because
Tebow's one of the most physically impressive specimens of all time and could have been what Taysom Hill is before Taysom Hill made it cool. All of that being said, that's not why I brought up Tim Tebow, as easy it is to go down that path. The reason I bring up Tim Tebow, ladies and gentlemen, is because Timmy Terrific is getting into the hockey game. Tim Tebow, according to the ECHL, it was announced earlier this week, has been awarded an expansion franchise in the ECHL. It is the 29th team in the league starting in the 24-25 season.
So he's not playing, he's owning one.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Correct. Tebow said in a statement released by the ECHL, quote, I love that sports can bring people together from all over to enjoy camaraderie, competition, and community impact. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of a group bringing hockey to the Tahoe area for fans and families to create memories for years to come. The 35-year-old Heisman Trophy winner is set to have a team in Lake Tahoe, which means that at some point, his team's going to play the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. I'm all in, baby. I am stoked about this. I'm stoked about it for two reasons. Number one, local hockey grows hockey, right? This is why you hear me say all the time, support your local professional sports. This is why I do everything I can for the Greenville Triumph to grow soccer. This is why I do everything I can for the Greenville Drive to grow baseball. It's why I do everything that I can for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits to grow hockey. Because local sports breed national sports. Local sports at a grassroots level make our professional sports better. It is no surprise to me that as we watch the USL expand, while it is still not great on an international level, MLS has gotten better. And when MLS continues to get better, it pushes the players that play abroad to be better, which makes the international team better. Hockey. I did not watch hockey growing up, with the exception of when my babysitter, Miss Angela, when I was a child, would come over and was a big Detroit Red Wings fan. Her dad, Mr. Butch, was from Detroit. They were big hockey guys. And when Miss Angela would come over, if the Red Wings were on TV, Rob Brown got to stay up late past his bedtime to watch Detroit hockey. Therefore, big Red Wings guy. But that was the extent of my hockey. When I stopped requiring a babysitter, I didn't watch hockey anymore until the Pensacola, at the time, Ice Pilots, now Ice Flyers, began playing in Pensacola. And I got brought by a buddy of mine who was from a hockey family to watch hockey, and all of a sudden I was hooked. And now, here we are decades later, big hockey guy. Can't get enough. Love the stuff, right? Now, hockey fits in better in Lake Tahoe than it does anywhere in the South, but it's worked in the South, which means it will definitely work in Tahoe. But here's the thing. There's a lot of, I'm college football and nothing else, sports fans out there who now, with Timmy Terrific involved, I think, are likely to be more interested, right? If it's good enough for Timmy, terrific. It's good enough for me. Tim Tebow is, by definition, an influencer. Tim Tebow does a thing, and that thing gets noticed because it's been done by Timmy touchdowns, right? So I like this. I like this move because if Tim Tebow got invested in an NHL team, it moves the needle a little. It moves the needle a little.
I don't know. Is Tebow past the point where he's relevant when it comes to this sort of thing?
I don't think so.
Because right now, what do you know Tebow for? For being on the SEC thing?
Sure.
Sorry, I don't remember the actual name of it.
I mean, the SEC network.
Okay.
We'll just go with that.
But they have a pregame
Yeah.
show, and I forget the name of the pregame show.
So I think Timmy touchdowns is still influential as a football guy. I think Tim Tebow is still a dude that if he walks into a room, guys from 20 to 90 are going to go, that's Tim Tebow, right? Even though we've got kids, you want to feel old? Here you go. Coming of age into their football fandom now who were not born when Tim Tebow was being Tim Tebow. You still know who Tim Tebow is. I was not a college football fan when Archie Griffin was playing, but I know who the hell he is, right? I know who he is. I wasn't around when Bo Jackson was playing, but I got YouTube and I've heard the name, so I watched his stuff.
Wow. I mean, Archie Griffin stuff I get, but not being around for Bo Jackson.
Yeah, when I said you, this time I was talking to you.
Yeah, that part makes me feel old. No one else has ever done that.
Who do you play for?
The Ohio State University. Yeah, that's why. I think I was taught that in like first grade, maybe.
And Ohio State University. Timmy Touchdowns is still a wildly influential football player. So for him to get in the hockey game, whether he's doing it to make money or just Tim Tebow's come around on hockey, I don't care. People will put eyes on a local product, and local sports growth is good for national sports growth.
This is a trend of not only sports stars, but movie stars buying into franchises. Started a long time ago, but it really seems to be picking up. I think Patrick Mahomes is bought in and
big pickleball guy, right?
Yeah, and we got a lot of guys buying pickleball teams. But this is not out of the norm. This is and it is cool because you get a local celebrity more than likely, or a big time celebrity at your local team, and that's going to bring people in.
Oh, sure. 100%. Look, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought Wrexham, and then they used their influence to get a Wrexham docuseries put on television, and it has helped soccer. I know people who are not soccer fans, but they are Ryan Reynolds fans. They're Deadpool fans that know who Wrexham is and have followed Wrexham. Next year, by the way, or is it later this year? I don't remember. Wrexham is going to be playing some games in the U.S. As a matter of fact, they're going to be playing, who is it, United? Up in Raleigh-Durham at Carolina Stadium. You better believe your boy's trying to figure out how he's going to get up there to go see that, right? Not only is it getting involved, but it's using their influence, right? Because a billionaire hedge fund owner can do all he wants to try to spread the good word. But there is a massive difference between, hey, I'm Rob Brown, and I would love you to come down and see a Greenville Swamp Rabbit hockey game, to people who don't watch hockey, versus, hello, I'm Timmy Tebow, and I would love for you to come down and watch some Lake Tahoe jump passers, or whatever they end up getting named. And I would love for you to come watch some hockey with me. People will do that. I think it's great. I think it's great for local sports. I think it's great for national sports, and therefore great for international sports.
Probably be like the Crusaders or something like that, more than likely.
By the way, I say all that. This is going to be a team that he owns a majority share in. I did not know this. He actually is already a minority partner in the ECHL with the Savannah Ghost Pirates, who have some of the dopest hockey jerseys on planet
Ghost
Earth.
Pirates, cool name.
Yeah, it is. And the butthole of them, Jacksonville Icemen. So he's actually already in hockey. I didn't know this, which kind of pokes a bit of a hole in my argument, but he's a minority owner. I didn't know this. This is being advertised, and I think it's great. As a majority owner, Tebow can straight up get invested, and I love it. I love it. It's good for hockey. Well done, Timmy Terrific. Round of applause from Rob Brown. All right, let me get this story in before we take a break. Unless you want to go a break now. Oh, you're giving the round.
It was delayed, Some guy in the crowd got the joke, and then everybody else thought they should applaud too.
Fair enough. I have not said a mean thing in my life about Tim Tebow. I wasn't ready for Steve. I wasn't. I have said mean things in my life about Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. And by the way, when I say mean things about Rob Manfred, I'm also saying mean things about every single owner in professional baseball as well, because he's the mouthpiece. But Rob is exceptionally bad. Well, Rob Manfred, you'll remember 4 or 5 weeks ago when we were really in the meat and potatoes of the Oakland Athletics are leaving Oakland story. Rob, instead of being a professional, Rob decided, you know what I should do? You know what I'm going to throw some shade at Oakland. I'm going to throw some shade at the fans of Oakland. You'll remember at one point that Rob Manfred, all of this on the fans. He blamed all of this on Oakland. He said, hey, if Oakland wanted to get us a new stadium, Oakland could have got us a new stadium. If Oakland wanted to do something to keep the Athletics, they could have done something to keep the Athletics. It's really their fault. He said that Oakland did not do enough to try to get the A's a new stadium. And the people of Oakland, California took a little bit of exception to that. Oakland's mayor is a woman by the name of Shang Thao. Shang Thao, the mayor of Oakland, decided she was going to go up to Seattle earlier this week. What was happening in Seattle earlier this week? Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. And who did we know was going to be at Major League Baseball's All-Star Game? Rob Manfred. So Shang Thao decided she was going to have a little bit of fun. She went to Seattle and she talked her way into a meeting with Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball. And when she showed up for the meeting, and for those of you that aren't watching the stream, what I'm about to do is a reason you should watch the stream every day at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, by searching and subscribing to the Fan Upstate on the YouTubes, or by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Shang Thao went up to Seattle. She met with Rob Manfred, and when she did, great, when she rolled up into the meeting, quite literally carrying a dolly full of documents to show to Rob Manfred about the work that Oakland had done to get a new stadium for the Oakland Athletics. Rob said, Oakland didn't do anything. They didn't try to make this happen. So what did Shang Thao do? She brought a dolly, a hand cart of documents from the city, officially verified, of the projects, of the work, of the investigations, the whatever else is you want to call it, that Oakland had done in their pursuit of a new stadium for the Athletics. Rob said they didn't do nothing. And Shang Thao literally went and dropped, I don't know, Lonzo, would you say about a 3-foot stack of documents on his desk?
Sizable, looked heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. That is incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah, but what does that do?
Not a damn thing.
Okay.
The decision's made. The decision's done. I'll tell you what it does. I lied.
Did she flew there just for that?
What I understand.
Did she do that on the taxpayer's dollar?
Don't care.
Okay, well I do because it's not going to accomplish anything.
It does accomplish something, I think. It does two things. Number one, as a sports fan.
It points out that he's a liar, but you already knew that.
As a sports fan, the first thing it does is it points out that he's a liar. Oh, that. Yeah, it points out Rob Manfred's full of crap. It points out that Rob Manfred is talking out of his Jacksonville. All right? That's what it proves out. The second thing it does, I think, is show that the city of Oakland cared. It tried. The city of Oakland tried. It was doing what it could do to keep one of the things that makes Oakland, Oakland, the athletics. Now, if you're upset about her taking a trip to Seattle on the taxpayer dime, that's fine. You should also be upset about the billions and billions of dollars every year of taxpayer money that goes into other cities keeping their teams. But that's a different discussion for a different day. I love that this lady, you know what? Even if I have a problem with her flying on the taxpayer dimes, I just love that the mayor of Oakland went to Rob Manfred's face and went, hey, you're lying. You're lying. You're wrong. You're lying. Because if nothing else, anything that puts a ding into the character of Rob Manfred is just fine for me. Amongst the documents shown to Manfred were a summary of terms, an infrastructure financing plan, a preliminary development plan, design guidelines, and a tentative tract map for a new stadium. Thou told Ken Rosenthal that Manfred seemed, quote, receptive to her presentation because she's still trying to keep the A's in Oakland. She's still making it go because remember, many of the hurdles have been cleared for the move, except one. The other owners still have to approve the move. And the thought here is if she can go and go, hey, look, we already had these wheels in motion. We already had this plan out there. We were already developing this. Maybe she can convince a third of the owners in baseball to say no. Hey, Oakland did what we said they didn't do.
All right, so there was a reason for her to go. I didn't realize all that.
I'm going to say yes, there is a reason in that she can maybe talk the owners. I'm also going to say no, it's not going to happen because MLB wants the Vegas market. They just want the Vegas market. Look at what the Golden Knights did. They want the Vegas market, and it is. You don't have to like it. You do have to acknowledge it true. It's a more profitable market than Oakland. So they can make the argument, put an expansion team there, but it's not going to matter. I just like that Rob Manfred got made to look like a jackass nationally. Yay. Back after this to wrap up hour 2 on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. That is correct. Compared to the mayor of New Orleans, I will take Oakland's mayor all day, every day.
Insurance is never easy, but after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance. built for people on a busy schedule. We don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, we want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined life insurance would be so affordable
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older.
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to ethoslife.com now for your free estimate. That's ethoslife.com. ethoslife.com.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation.
Keegan,
Shipping if prescribed.
I do use a coffee mug. I actually have a Nightwing coffee mug. I put pop in it. I don't know what you guys call it. And during the winter when it's cold, I put warm cocoa. I don't like hot cocoa because it burns your mouth. So you can have a mug and not drink coffee out of it. What's the difference between a coffee cup and a mug? Does a mug have to?
Doesn't have coffee in it.
Well, no. I mean, is a mug a specific height?
A mug is bigger. A mug is bigger and traditionally used not for coffee. Like when I think mug, I think beer, I think root beer, I think tall cocktails.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture.
Okay, if you look properly, then you'll notice that the cup is smaller than the mug, and it always comes with a handle and a saucer, but mugs are generally bigger in size and the perfect container to hold coffee or hot chocolate. Okay, what? Coffee cup versus mug, which is best suited for you?
From the Ingles Market Studio,
Like those ones that one dude girl sold at the etching place. Those are mugs. Those are, I have some of those. But at what height is it no longer a mug? It's important. You just hair flipped. Way to go, man. Way to go. He just hair flipped. By the way, you could see Rob hair flip on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook.
It's got bounced today, man. I got bounced today.
Was it Shrek 2 with Prince Charming? You just did that.
Look.
Hey, I'm not saying it was
I'm not
saying it was a bad thing. No, exactly.
Listen, this show has the best hair of any show in South Carolina.
Oh,
I stand by that.
Without a doubt. That includes the women.
Yeah. Yeah. It's particularly good today. Wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Rob, wear the white Crocs with the JA17 and cut off jean shorts and sleeveless V-neck t-shirt, the Braves trucker hat. Then you'll be normal enough to not get stopped at the Wally World, allegedly.
Well, there are different standards for different establishments. That and Lawrence, you're good. Same thing in Pickens County. The county you live in might be a little more haughty, so you may look more suspicious that way.
All I know is I cannot go into some one particular store in Taylor, South Carolina, and purchase from the self-checkout without having my receipt checked every time. Every time.
I secretly hope that this person knows who you are and they're trolling you, because I think that's hilarious.
I don't think this individual of an unspecified gender and age does, right? Here's the part that really gets it, that makes it the worst.
So they're probably in my demographic. Maybe they know you because of me.
I'm not going to say what age she is, Alonzo, but she is most certainly older than you.
All right, we all heard you say Alonzo.
For the record, that's because Chris this morning was calling. I said I was being very complimentary of Alonzo before he got here.
Yeah, I keep hearing this, but I walk in and everything gets quiet, and then we were complimenting you. Okay, fine, whatever.
So I was being very complimentary, and I said not everybody has a producer like I have, and Chris said yes, not everyone has Alonzo, and I was like, that's not as you meant like a Lonzo, and then it just anyway, whatever. Listen, the lady who checks me every time I'm there, she sits by the registers in a chair. I'm not saying this to be mean, it's just the fact. She sits there with a cane and a walker to switch between the two. And she sits and she watches people check out, leave. And every time I come through, she pushes up off her chair to waddle over to me and go, sir, can I check your receipt, please? Every time.
She's not waddling. She's just doing her best effort. That's all she's able to do in her present state.
Yeah. So my question is, if I did decide I was going to steal a computer and jet, that's what you're putting there? I'm not trying to be mean or ableist or ageist.
It's a good thing you weren't putting effort into it, because you absolutely sounded mean there.
Rolling up to the bar and the bouncer is 90? You'd be like, all right, yeah, this is going great. Why me?
Does he look like Schwarzenegger? Because when he's 90, he's still going to look like him.
Why me? Why me? Why me? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Maybe she thinks you're cute.
That might be it, Keegan. You might have found it.
That might be it.
She looks forward for her quality time with Rob Brown. Oops, I missed the line. I got to start all over.
Hey, girl, can I check your receipt? Keegan, you know what I'm talking about when I say I will fight you. I will fight you.
I don't know. I'm not sure you could take Keegan. I'm just saying.
I didn't say I could take him. I said I'd fight him.
I'm just I had to put money down. I don't know. Keegan looks quick to me. That's all. I'm not sure if you still got the quicks in you.
I think Keegan and I are both squarely in the category of used to be athletes.
Whereas I used to be an athlete before either one of you were born.
Mm-hmm.
It stings.
After a straight set win over Elena Svitolina this morning. I'm Andrew Bode.
He always has a rant. He always has a take. He's Jim Rowe, and he's only on CBS.
And he's on his 1 month vacation or whatever that is he takes in the summer where he's not here. He uses the Sklar brothers who, were relevant when. There was a time period where the Sklar brothers were everywhere on little shows, and then they just disappeared.
when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want.
You ever hear a voice on the radio like the one that's on right now and just know you know exactly what that person looks like?
Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-981-4455. That's 800-981-4455. 800.
Okay, why are animated 4-foot Mickeys coming soon to Home Depot showing up on my feed? It's July. Where are the dogs and the cats? Although that Mickey is voiced by Willie P. I mean, look out.
The last one more impressive than the last.
There you go, Keegan.
Attaboy. I got to get onto it. I'm at 436 days till the wedding. I'm like, all right, 50 pounds.
Am I the only one who thought he was going to say he was at 336 pounds? Because that's where I thought it was going.
No, but I'm also not at 236 pounds.
Well, you're definitely not at 136 pounds.
If I'm at 136 pounds, something's went really
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, you would not look healthy.
Really wrong.
Yeah. So the boss the other day asked me what my height was, and I told him, he said, "You look taller." I said, "I know, it's my ego." Is that a dad joke?
It's not.
I don't think it is. It's still sarcasm. I don't think dad jokes are sarcastic.
I started the last couple of weeks working the Eddie Guerrero into it every now and then.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and
you
I
know.
did it to Courtney yesterday. It's not as impactful when the person you're doing it to doesn't know who Eddie Guerrero was.
Did you say Mamacito when you did it, though?
No, but I did. So we were having our discussion of the list, all right? And
you just made a list.
No, not that list.
Or you didn't.
We were making our discussion of the list, and I think not every, but a lot of couples know what the list is. Your hall pass list. And I
Oh, see, I thought they were talking about the wedding list.
No.
Okay, all right.
The list of people that you have a hall pass for. And for the record, this list only works if it's people who obviously are not going to happen. Kevin Costner is on her list, right?
He's pretty old now.
I put
mean,
Rhea Ripley on my list. She's on my hall pass list. And she's like, well, you might meet her. And
I was going to say, should we mention that when she's in studio sitting right there?
Fair. It's okay. You're my mommy. And she's like, what?
You do know Rhea Ripley's like half your age.
She's not half my age. Half my age is 16, you creep. Oh, you suck, Lonzo. You suck.
It made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. We were during the break. I was telling Zoe and our listeners on the stream, because those of you who don't watch the stream, you're missing out on like half the show, right? Because we talk during the breaks. We stay on the stream. And we were talking about the fact. Let me start with this. I'll ask a question of you guys. I think that you guys are probably gonna get this. Couples that have the list. I said the lady friend and I have the list. And Lonzo's like, oh, I thought you were talking about your guest list, your wedding list, right? The list, of course, is the list of celebrities that your significant other gets a hall pass for.
I'm not sure that's normal, but I could be wrong.
I didn't either, but I've said it multiple times, and I've been told by plenty of other couples that they also have the list. Now, the concept of the list is not, I would actually do this. It's just, hey, here's a fun, silly, goofy way for me to say I find these people attractive.
People aren't into swing dancing, are they?
So we were talking about the list, and I told a lady friend that Rhea Ripley has bounced someone off of the list, right? And she was like, that's really not a fair addition. And I said, why? And she said, because you're you, and there's a very good chance you're actually going to meet Rhea Ripley.
WWE coming to town Monday Night Raw.
30th.
Rhea Ripley could be here. It's a possibility. The entire Judgment Day could be here, but she could be here.
I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all straight up. If Rhea Ripley ends up being one of the people who comes, and she does a lot of media appearances for WWE, if she does, I am hiding the damn stream chat while she's in here. All right? Because y'all are creepy.
Like she hasn't seen that before.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'm not going to do it to her face.
Are you going to ask me to not be here? Because I'll say, you know what Rob said?
You're on his list. Then I'll just, yeah, you just made the list. All right. Anyway, she was like, you can meet Rhea Ripley. That's not fair, right? Like, she's got celebrities on her list that we're never going to meet. Rhea's on mine. She's like, you might meet her like multiple times. I'm like, don't worry. You're the only mommy for me. She's like, what the hell are you talking about? And it was one of those moments that I have to remind myself that not everybody's into wrestling like me.
Yeah, because when you say that, it's suddenly you're calling her mom and she's calling you dad.
Yeah,
I've heard that, and I always thought that was kind of weird.
Hey, to each their own, man. To each their own. Speaking of, it's Thursday. You know what that means? Fight Club in the next segment, which means we got to fly through this one because we got extended Fight Club today.
By the way, we're not going to be talking about our lists on the Fight Club.
I mean, we might. Keegan said, got to make sure the rules are clear. When you choose Margot Robbie and she chooses your next door neighbor, things get weird. Right. Yeah, exactly. The list only works if it's like, that. All right.
Do you think, well, obviously the list must work somewhere because someone had to come up with that and it actually worked? Or is it because it's never worked?
Do some of y'all have the list? Do you know what I'm talking about, listener? 71307, text me your answer. Do you and your significant other have the list?
And don't try to be cool and go, yeah, legal. Yeah,
be honest about it.
Yeah.
Because we have the list. Your hall pass list. Again, it's all celebrities.
You've only told us one. I'm curious about the other.
Martina McBride is on the list, without a doubt.
More of your age range there. So.
Yeah. Dude, she's like 20 years older than me. How are you you think...
I'm sorry, Zach. I messed up.
Who else is on the list right now? Martina McBride is always going to be on the list. She could be 80 and she's going to be on the list. All right. Rhea's on the list right now. Serena Williams is on the list. Smoke Show. Love Serena Williams. She's on the list. I'd have to think about who else is on up and down.
By the way, Martina McBride is 56.
Texter said, my wife barely wants me, let alone another man. Texter says, Keanu Reeves is on my wife's list. I got to go find the rest of this text. It's split up. Keanu Reeves is on my wife's list. Guess who she met one day? All I can say, okay, I can't read the rest of that text. Let's just say Texter had a really good night that night. I'll just leave it there. Texter said, Harry Connick Jr. was on mine. His wife was on my husband's. You know what? Harry Connick Jr. might be on my list. The man's wildly talented, all right?
He used to be in all our rooms. He's made his way around. I don't know if the stand-up still exists.
What? I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. I think we know which office to go to when
I gotta guess.
That sort of thing disappears.
I just know somebody violated the Harry Connick Jr. fathead. I wasn't okay with that.
Well, someone beheaded it was Michael Bublé.
Downstairs. Yeah. Somebody beheaded Michael Bublé. No.
And it's a jagged cut. It's not like a clean scissor cut.
It's box cutter to Michael.
Yeah, and I still have a theory that someone has Bublé's head sewed to their pillow at home. So that's my theory.
Texter said the list might be a warning label. Well, I've got 3 texts so far with people not only saying they have a list, but who's on their list. I don't think it is. Like, I think you're in a committed, secure relationship when you can tell your significant other, I find that person attractive.
No, what you're saying is I really love you, but. And if there's a but in there,
You're
that
telling
becomes
me
a.
when you fall in love and you have a significant other that you would absolutely die for, you don't still find other people physically attractive. You are telling me that I can't find someone else physically attractive. No, you still will find other people physically attractive. What you mean is I would never act on that. I got no inclination to make a move, but that person is attractive.
But I agree with Courtney in this. There is the possibility, a very big possibility, probably like an 85% chance that you could meet Rhea Ripley.
But here's the thing. For the record, I'm very happy in my relationship. I would not make a move on Rhea Ripley. I can find her wildly attractive.
If you did, Dirty Dom's coming at you, and you can't handle that.
Texter Hurricane Jeff says, by any chance, are you guys going to be talking about the Ultimate Fighter? Conor McGregor's team is not doing so well with one fight won so far. His team has lost all of their bouts. While I would very rarely pass up on the opportunity to talk bad about Conor McGregor, I'm not going to lie, neither Zoe nor I are watching that show.
But,
are you watching it now?
I've watched bits and pieces of it. I haven't watched an entire episode, but I've watched enough of it to where it comes on and I see it. I always seem to tune in right when Conor's fighter just lost again. Yeah, it's not a good look on him. Doesn't mean he's going to lose his next fight if he doesn't get broken again.
Keegan said, what if Rhea Ripley makes a move on you? All right, two things. Number one, I've seen Buddy Matthews. She's not. All right. And number two, I would then have the built-in excuse of, yeah, but babe, she would have kicked my ass.
All right, so the same guy handles all the wrestlers when they come in. I might whisper to him and say, hey,
no, don't.
Get Rhea.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I'd like to stay engaged. Don't do that. All right, thanks. All right, let's get a couple of stories because we got to get out early.
What I was going to get Rhea to do is tell you how you wouldn't have a chance anywhere because Dirty Dom is her man.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Dom ain't afraid of going back to the yard where he did cardio. All right.
Maybe he can give you some hair tips about how to get the proper mullet, though.
Dan Snyder allegedly collected blackmail, which he used against the NFL. A report came out from Sports Illustrated, amongst other sources, that there was a presentation that Dan Snyder put together that is now known in NFL circles as the blackmail PowerPoint. Because, of course, Dan Snyder used PowerPoint.
All businesses use that, right? That's like a sub thing for PowerPoint.
Ugh.
Click on the blackmail, and they already have parts of it written for you.
No. Don't worry, Jerry Jones. You're on slide 7. Commanders owner Dan Snyder's legal team allegedly presented a PowerPoint that contained blackmail material for top league executives during a meeting about Washington's workplace misconduct, according to a new report from ESPN. This presentation became known in league circles as the blackmail PowerPoint. The presentation took... Jerry, I'm not saying I know things, but I would just say, why don't you take that little mouse right there, click advanced slide, maybe to number 13. We got a lot on you, maybe 13, 14, and 15. And if you take a look at our presentation, you might find out that we know a thing or two, huh? And if I was to, I don't know, be kicked out of the National Football League, I'm just saying, maybe this presentation makes its way onto a thumb drive. Maybe that thumb drive gets put into a manila envelope. Maybe that envelope gets addressed to the New York Times, and maybe it gets dropped in the mail, huh? And maybe, just maybe, we find out that JJ's got a little something going on in the background that might not be for public knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So, JJ, I'm just saying, it might be in your best interest to just forget Dan Snyder even exists, huh? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying you might want to forget all the things that you think that you know,
all the things you think you got on me, because I'm just saying, JJ, I got this PowerPoint presentation. And if you think I only got it saved in one place, you're kidding, huh? You're going to force me out? You are going to force me out of the family? What are you talking about? This thumb drive says you're not. All right, that's enough of that. I nailed that, though. Absolutely nailed that.
That's like award-winning.
I
right
nailed
there.
that.
Yeah.
Just stuck the landing.
It's kind of
We out here breaking thumb drives.
spontaneity that you'll only get right here on the Rob Brown Show.
That's it. Nailed it. Dan Snyder apparently collected blackmail on other league officials and then presented it to them and said, hey, yo, I'm just saying, you force me out, I'll take you all down with me, huh? I'll take you all down, one by one, slide by slide. Slide by slide is a weak-ass threat.
He did manage to take one person down, though.
He did, because apparently those emails about John Gruden that got leaked, that got John Gruden canned, came from Dan Snyder. Incredible.
And that's a perfect blackmail move, because you throw out you get someone
one sacrificial lamb.
That's right.
And then the rest of the flock falls in line.
Yeah, Gruden got the horse head in the bed, and now everyone else is like, oh no, he means business.
Look what they did to my boy. So good. For the record, I hope the PowerPoint presentation gets found one day. Dan Snyder's got that thing on a computer somewhere, and I hope some young, intrepid reporter comes. Could you imagine the reckoning if he got John Gruden fired with like 18 emails, and then he's got it on everybody? Let's go.
Well,
make the movie.
Well, I'm sure they videotaped the entire thing. I would like to see the conversation going, okay, all right, so here's how we coordinate this. We make sure we leak this at this point, and make sure you send an email to a couple people so they know that it's coming, so they know that they could be next.
I hope some of the owners got a text message at like 9:45 on a Wednesday that was like, not saying you should watch the news tomorrow, but watch the news tomorrow, huh? Maybe click it on Sports Center in the morning. Just some friendly advice, eh? Drop the PowerPoint presentation. Let's burn the whole thing down. That story would be incredible. I want it. I want to know what Dan Snyder came up with. Because remember, the first round of punishments against Dan Snyder weren't that harsh. Is it because the league saw the PowerPoint presentation and was like, Dan, you know we got to do something?
No, it was a rat, man. There was a rat in there.
Filthy, stinking rat, huh?
That it was Carmine.
Was it because they saw the PowerPoint presentation and they were like, all right, Dan, we got to do something, right? We got to do something. We can't have it be nothing, because then everybody's coming for us. So $10 million fine, and you can't sit in your press box for a season. How's that? Right? Because $10 million to a billionaire is like if we fined Lonzo $1,000. Yeah, it feels like a lot, but at the end of the day, Lonzo's stupid rich, huh? It ain't impacting him that much. It's like a slap on the wrist. You get trotted out for a couple of days as the bad guy, and then we all move on.
Yeah, that's me. $1,000. Yeah. Yeah, it's like pennies to me.
Yeah, it's like nothing. $10 million to a billionaire is like a $20 bill. And you can't sit in your luxury box for a season. And if we do that, you take a little punishment, and you don't have to burn the league to the ground. Somebody find that PowerPoint presentation.
So is Snyder a guy that I may go down, but I'm taking you all with me?
Yeah. Hey, you know, I got this thumb drive right here.
I mean, really, will he? I mean, will some of this stuff come out? And
no, because he's selling the team for a friggin' billions of dollars.
Yeah, but after he sells
he's fine.
But after he sells it,
right.
Yeah, you know.
Now you thought you was gonna run me out of the league, and you got played. I got my billions over here.
And maybe the thumbnail made its way into circulation. Who knows, huh? Who knows?
You know, we're moving out of the building.
Yeah.
Something got misplaced.
Yeah,
It
just
happens.
Accidentally happened to drop a thumbnail on the ground that just said blackmail on it. Whoops. Whoopsie. Accidents happen, huh? It's a nice league you got there, Roger. Be a real shame if something would have happened to it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Thursday. You know what that means. Coming up next, Fight Club! With the great one, Lonzo, we'll talk MMA, professional wrestling, and I am going to convince Lonzo that the Tyson Fury-Francis Ngannou fight is actually a bad idea for everybody who's not Tyson Fury or Francis Ngannou, and we'll do that next on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I think we all know he ain't going to get me to change my mind, even though he says he's going to use my argument back on me. Although I am still wondering how he's going to use my argument back on me, since I don't know which argument he's going with. Is he doing this from his car? Huh.
He quits radio interviews in the middle of radio interviews. He's telling coaches how to play him, or he's not going to sign, and he's refusing to play in the Belt Bowl, which he did when he left the University of South Carolina. Chris Doering on the SEC Network said it never would have even entered his mind not to play in a bowl game. Deebo Samuel kind of looks like a prima donna to me these days. What say you? I'm Mark Ryan.
Sometimes it's all I can do to not comment on things that I hear on the radio. I'm going to be a good boy.
If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another
They just tweeted out a picture of John Cena as the Ken made in the Barbie movie. So he's the male mermaid.
The Rock's tweet to Grayson Waller was incredible.
No, Stephen, I did not.
He just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Growing a business brings pressure. Staying compliant and retaining top talent in challenging times.
Should have known if Floridians is trending, don't click on it because who knows what's going to pop up on my feed now.
Florida man.
while lightening my HR load. Engaged people empowered to do their best means overcoming.
It's Flonase season for Rob Brown. I don't know how or why. The allergies are killing me right now.
I am suddenly having a problem also. I wonder if someone sprayed something in the building. Or...
I don't know, man. I just started leaking.
Ew.
Another great matchup in our upstate's favorite athlete bracket.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan. Upstate.
Just don't think he's good to beat.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where normally, the fight is figurative. It's not literal.
Sometimes.
But there's a fight about to happen, supposedly, because someone believes that they can convince me to change my mind about the Francis Ngannou Tyson Fury fight that's coming up that I'm really looking forward to. Cannot wait to see Tyson Fury knock Francis Ngannou plumb out, probably within, I don't know, maybe the first 40 to 55 seconds. And it will be worth the $100 I pay for it. So,
we that and lead off with that?
Well, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Because you said you're going to use one of my arguments against me.
All right.
And I can't wait.
Here we go. A while back, there was a professional wrestler who decided to go over and try his hand in the MMA world. His name is Phil Brooks. He goes by the wrestling name CM Punk. So, Lonzo got very mad at CM Punk for doing that. Not because he did it, but because he went there and he got his face knocked in. And Lonzo, you said what about CM Punk when that happened?
It's an embarrassment for wrestling because you've got people like Brock Lesnar, you've got people like Bobby Lashley, you've got people like Jake Hager, who all were fairly successful, Brock being the most successful in that arena.
Correct.
Phil just went in and did what we might, no. You and I, either one of us would have put up a fight. He did not. I'm getting a punch in.
No,
even
not.
if, yeah, I am.
No,
I'm getting a punch in. Even if it's a groin shot, I'm getting a punch in.
No, you're not.
Yep.
I like your confidence in
No.
yourself.
I am getting a punch. Rob, you would get a punch in. You said you'd never been in a fight. You would absolutely would get a punch in.
No, you wouldn't. You may throw a punch. You are not connected.
You know what? That would be more than what he did.
Now,
that would be more than what he did.
Table this. We're coming back to it because this is not.
I will always be angry about that.
That's fine. We'll come back to it. Now,
man, I hope he doesn't end up sitting in the studio.
Oh, dude, that would be so good. So, yeah, you guys want CM Punk?
I'm not sure I'll be here for that.
Best in the world.
Because I don't want to hurt the reputation of the company, and I might have a problem with that.
All right. So, you got mad at CM Punk because he went over to the world of MMA, got his face punched down his own throat, and he made professional wrestlers look bad, right? And I get that. That's fine. I don't agree with you, but I understand the argument.
Well, it's today on the DA show. Today on the DA show, they were talking about this, and they've got some haters on there talking about acting and the script and all that. They played into the hands of those people that we know in this building that look down on us because we are a fan of wrestling. And those people, they're condescending pieces of something with their glances and their glaring and like, oh, you poor, just shut up.
Let the haters hate. So, Francis Ngannou is going to do the same thing that CM Punk did for wrestlers, in your mind, to MMA fighters.
Did Conor do that?
Yes!
He didn't, though.
Yes!
He didn't.
He got his ass beat by Floyd Mayweather.
No, he did not. He did not.
Then my question is,
One of two things is true here, in my opinion. Either A, that standard that you had for Punk does not apply to anyone except CM Punk, because McGregor got smoked by Mayweather.
But he didn't.
He did, though.
He did not. But you compare them. Compare them. How many rounds did Conor go? How many punches did Conor land? How many times? How many times did
designed to end with
Mayweather got scared because Conor McGregor was hitting him and it hurt. Phil Brooks never landed anything that would have scared the guy he was going up against.
There is zero worlds in which Conor McGregor poses a boxing threat to Floyd Mayweather. Even
you are a boxing elitist, and you're going to have that opinion. You are. And it's an opinion because
is Francis Ngannou the baddest MMAer on the planet right now?
I don't know.
Okay. Is he in the top 5?
Possibly.
Not possibly. Francis Ngannou is one of the best 5 MMA fighters in the
world. All
right,
right, you need
now.
to be a little you need to be a little more
you
specific.
Yourself,
are we talking weight class or are we talking overall?
I am talking pound for pound. Francis Ngannou is one of the top 5 MMA fighters on planet Earth right now.
When's the last time he fought?
You yourself just said Tyson Fury's going to knock him in the next week.
He is.
Okay, so if that is the case.
Because it's boxing rules. So in boxing rules, the boxer is going to have the advantage.
Right.
If it was MMA, it would be a totally different story.
Correct. I agree. And professional wrestling has a whole different set of rules from
You're on
MMA.
the edge of using that tone I was talking about
yes,
that the other guys do.
Because you are setting different standards for different fighters.
No, I'm not.
Well, if Punk does it, it's bad. But if Ngannou does it, it doesn't matter.
No.
If Punk does it, it's bad. But if Conor does it, it doesn't matter.
No.
Yes,
it's not the same. It is not the same.
Tyson Fury is going to punch Francis Ngannou into another dimension since it's only boxing. I agree. If Fury went to MMA, Ngannou would kill him. And I don't mean that metaphorically.
Well, hopefully
I mean it
not.
literally.
Yeah.
But when this dude goes over and Tyson Fury ends him, and if it's a legitimate fight, which I don't even believe it's going to be, I'm sure they're going to have their "don't hurt me too bad" clause.
I don't think they will. I don't think you can put this in the same space that you put the Jake Paul stuff. I don't think you can do that.
I would almost be willing to bet, should this contract ever be made public, and it won't, that there's going to be a "don't hurt me too bad" clause in there.
I'm curious though, as a boxing elitist, which you just agreed that you are, how does it hurt you? How does it cut you when this will be the most bought pay-per-view in history?
First off,
but does it bother you?
I'm going to answer if you let me. Here's why it sucks. Number one, I am not.
You were back there holding your head. I mean,
yes, because you are saying things that are wrong.
Yeah, I was trying to stretch for you so you could recover.
You have not brought this out of me in a while, Lonzo.
He's pointing his fingers. If you haven't seen that.
Okay. Woosah.
Did that work?
Number one. No, not at all, but I'm going to try. Number one, I am not a boxing elitist. Elitist means, no, let me finish. Elitist means I think boxing is better than. I do not think boxing is better than MMA. I think it's different. I think it's a different universe. And it should be treated as an individual sport. And crossovers don't help. They don't. Boxing is boxing, and MMA is MMA, and never the twain shall meet. I wouldn't stick a football player on a soccer pitch and go, this guy sucks.
Is there boxing in MMA?
It is a aspect of it, but when's the last MMA fight you saw that you would go, this is a boxing match? Never.
I wouldn't, because boxing is boring, whereas MMA is much more exciting.
Are welcome to think so.
Right.
That's fine. That's a subjective opinion. You're welcome to hold.
Well, since we have a boxing elitist, I might as well be a UFC elitist or MMA elitist. It's the counterpoint thing.
I'm not a boxing elitist. I'm a boxing fan. And I want boxing to be held in the same regard, in the same respect as MMA, though I do acknowledge no one is obligated to do that.
By the way, not my show, but my segment has been said many times. So text line 71307, is Rob a boxing elitist?
No, he's a boxing fan. There's a difference. So my point is this. When Francis Ngannou, if there's not a "don't hurt me too bad, bro" clause in this contract, when Francis Ngannou gets knocked down in this fight, and he will, because Tyson Fury is the baddest pound for pounder on the planet in boxing right now. I'm going to give him that. When he puts Ngannou on the ground, and he will, I am going to come in here the next day with the same energy you have for Punk. He embarrassed MMA fighters. I will be a boxing elitist that day, mainly for fun.
What if
Francis
Ngannou wins? What if he wins?
I will bet you $100 now.
By the way,
won't happen.
I don't believe he will, but there's still a little portion of me that gives him a chance.
None.
That's the only reason why people will pay for this, because they think there's a shot at it.
None. 0% chance that he wins this
So
fight.
all us suckers out there are going to pay the money to see this. That's exactly what we are.
Correct.
We're marks.
Correct.
Just a bunch of marks.
100%. Because this is a carnival show. This is a clown show.
Who doesn't like a clown show or a carnival show?
If you want to spend your money that way, it's your money to be spent.
There's a reason why the circus is still around after hundreds of years.
And you are a mark. And anybody who buys this fight is a mark. I'm about to go full MJF. You're all marks. Every one of you is a fool.
Well, that's old MJF.
Baby. So, everyone who buys this fight is a mark. Because unless there's a don't hurt me, bro clause in there, in which case, why are you buying a fight? Why are you buying a fight in which one fighter refuses to actually fight?
Anna, the witness is speculating. But you're speculating. You are speculating that there's a clause in there.
Because I'm coming to the second
But you're painting a picture to make people think that there is one, but we don't know that there is or isn't.
Which is why I said, if there is, not that there is.
And then you go on to expand to make it sound like there is.
If there is a don't hurt me bro clause, then the fight's a sham and there's no point in watching it.
Can I hire your brother to represent me in this?
If he's not going to, because I'm right. If there is not a don't hurt me bro clause, then Tyson Fury is going to kick his ass. That's all there is to it. And I will bet you a paycheck on it today. Today. Now.
If you won every single time, then maybe I would agree with you there, but just because you're willing to bet a paycheck doesn't mean you're right.
And most times I bet like $20. This time I'm going paycheck on it. All right.
Which is not much more than $20.
Now,
so, yeah.
If that happens, then I am going to come to you with the same energy you come with Punk. Francis Ngannou just made MMA fighters look bad. He climbed into a ring with a boxer and he got it handed to him. He's the baddest dude in the MMA game right now, and he got it handed to him by a boxer. That means MMAers can't hang with boxers. That's what that means.
Yeah, it's. I thought you would come with something else. It doesn't work because again, Conor McGregor did it, hung with Mayweather, did not hurt UFC at all when he did it. And then there are wrestlers who came in and actually dominated, including Brock Lesnar.
No, there are MMAers who went to boxing and then dominated.
No.
Brock started in WWE.
Yes.
But he got famous in MMA and then came back. Now,
right.
Put that aside.
Well,
put that aside.
What are you saying any different than I just said?
And then we'll walk away. Kindly and confidently holding hands because we love each other. Francis Ngannou. Scratch that. Let me start with the McGregor-Mayweather thing. I am going to be a boxing elitist here. I know more about boxing than probably 95% of our audience does. I've been around it a very long time.
He includes me because I don't know if you knew
Correct.
this, but he used to work for Roy Jones Jr.
100%.
That makes him an expert. So.
I know more about boxing than most of you do. Okay. And if you watched that Floyd Mayweather fight and you thought that Floyd was even close,
he was scared
to 80% of his talent level being shown, you're wrong. Floyd boxed that fight the way that I play basketball with my 5-year-old nephew. I'm not trying to dunk on a 5-year-old. I'm not trying to break his ankles. I'm not trying to make him look silly. I want to win, but I want to give him just enough that it looks like he's competitive.
There's someone out there that you're convincing is no one in this room because Floyd Mayweather got scared. So what he did, he started grabbing on McGregor, trying to get McGregor to go into UFC mode so he could get out of the fight because it was too much for him. Not what he thought. He thought he was going to come in, thought he was going to school him, thought he was going to knock him out. It was going to be over. It was going to be easy money, and it was not. And he was not stretching for the sake of people getting their money's worth. He got scared.
Or
Or as the boxing analyst, let me just tell you what actually happened, which is Floyd was going, this isn't entertaining. This isn't entertaining because I can wreck this dude in a boxing match. And if I go out there and just punch him in the head for 5 rounds, it's not entertaining, and people will stop buying more Floyd Mayweather versus not a boxer fights in the future.
But you're wrong. You're wrong. If he went out and straight up boxed him in the head, if he had a skill to do that, which he did not, he would have done that, and it would have gotten him more fight. He would have been able to say, "See,
greatest boxers of all time didn't have the skill."
He is one of the greatest avoiders of all time. Yes. Let me jab a few times and run for the rest of the match, because he's not a real boxer who would stand in there toe to toe.
That's definitely it, and it's definitely not
Mike Tyson wouldn't have ducked out like that.
A carnival barker putting on boxing matches that aren't boxing matches for money doesn't want to go out there and murder non-boxers, because then he wouldn't sell more fights in the future. Floyd Mayweather could have killed Conor McGregor if it was a real boxing match. I am begging you, Tyson and Francis, do a real boxing match. I'm begging you, do it for real. 10 rounds, no holdsies backsies, no don't hurt me bros, box. Sincerely, box. Because Ngannou will be asleep in the 2nd round and I'll get to go, that's why this is stupid. Stop doing it.
Well, you won't get to do it because you would have to pay to watch it, and there's no way you would watch it in any other way.
Watch it to come in here the next day and go, I read on the internet that Tyson Fury put Francis Ngannou to sleep in the 2nd round, and that is why boxers need to box, so that we can have boxing be good, not these bleep shows.
Well, I've been lied to. I thought talent money meant you could afford to buy something like that just on a whim, but
somebody did lie to you.
I guess I don't aspire to get there. Did you make that or miss that?
I made it. Kobe.
Did you? Okay. All right. Let's move on. By the way, if you thought Rob was going to convince me, you were wrong.
If you thought Lonzo was going to hold Francis Ngannou to the same standard as CM Punk, you're wrong.
Yeah, it's the argument didn't work.
Oh no,
but
no, this one's different. Why? Because I said so.
It was a valiant effort, and as I've said many times to other people, just because you're yelling doesn't mean you're right. All right.
I'm yelling because I'm right.
Okay. All right. All right. You need to calm down, man. You're hitting the Red Bulls and then you're getting all excited.
Don't you Taylor Swift me.
Let's get to another fight that Rob won't buy. And that is Zuckerberg versus Elon, which I think we've got some added things to it since Elon is suing Zuckerberg over Threads. I think now we got even more bad blood for the fight. But there's a picture that's out there of a shredded Mark Zuckerberg. If you were willing to put some money on Elon Musk, you see this picture of Zuckerberg, does that make you change your mind about where you're putting your money?
Well, first off, my money was on Zuck the whole time anyway. But now it definitely is, not just because of, hey, Zuck's freaking shredded, dude.
Yeah, but
all right,
in his heart, in his mind, in his looks, no matter how shredded he is, he's still a nerd. And he's going to get his butt whipped by Elon Musk.
Not a chance. Yeah, how is Zuck a nerd, but Elon's not? Elon's a trust fund baby nerd.
Yeah, but he's from the streets of South Africa.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
His
sure
family
he is.
were literally multi-millionaires.
All right, I am really concerned that you're going to have some sort of a cardiac arrest or something. I mean, your face is turning red.
He's a trust fund baby and nothing more. Zuck is going to smoke him. By the way, since that picture dropped, I'm not saying because, but since Zuck has gone from minus 225 to minus 500 if this fight happens.
How do we know? How do we know it's not Photoshop? That sort of pale does not exist in reality.
You can just Google Mark Zuckerberg. That's what he looks like.
Well, no.
By the way,
I'll pass.
Who is he standing next to? Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
If that's his sparring buddy, Elon's going to die. Elon's going to die.
There's no way he's actually sparring with the style bender because he will get destroyed. Oh, wait a minute. No, never mind, because that would go back into your argument. All right, let's move on from that. One of the best matches in all of wrestling. I don't know how it's going to be topped Friday, because we've already seen AEW. We've already seen Monday Night Raw. Was Dragunov versus Braun Breaker. What a match that was. Dragunov is in the vein of Jeff Hardy, in the vein of what's his name? It paints half his face. Who's with Sting for some reason? His name just eludes me.
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin. I'm sorry, Darby. I'm old. But in the vein of crazy of those guys who just doesn't care what happens to the bodies and they get contorted and do things that bodies shouldn't do. What a match. And the thing that he did to Braun in the corner, and I don't know the name of the move, but I thought he killed Braun. It was an amazing move. This guy is.
It was like a sideways exploder into the corner.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah. This Dragunov is a guy who I would definitely pay money. I won't have to because I'm in radio and I get free tickets. But if I was going to pay money to see a wrestler, I'd go watch him and then feel uncomfortable the entire time I watched.
The best wrestlers in the world make it look like it hurts. Make it look like it's an accident.
Well, sometimes it probably
it does. But I'm saying they make it look like every move is an accidental real one. And Ilya Dragunov is probably the best NXT has at it right now.
All right. So if you haven't had a chance to watch that match, you need to watch that match. Also, I wanted to get to this, even though some of these are spoilers for Rob. You know what? I'm not going to do that.
No, go ahead.
No.
I'm mostly caught up.
Dude, I'm not going to do that because there's other stuff I can get to, and we can talk about it in the office after you watch. The buddy movie that we're seeing between MJF and Adam Cole took it to another level last night. It was amazing. It really was. MJF has got to be the most versatile of, I know you're LA Knight guys out there, and he's like all over videos everywhere, but he is no MJF as far as being able to go from heel to face to be a comedy wrestler to being serious that dude, he can sing, he can dance, he can do everything.
Look, MJF's one of the best wrestlers in the game right now. And I'm not just talking about wrestling. I'm talking about the whole package, right? The ability to cut promos, the ability to be both funny or deadly serious, to be insulting and complimentary, and the ability to go, right? Like, he's one of the best. And this pairing with Adam Cole it's just remarkable, mainly because of not just the buildup of the execution. And I loved last night when Cole was like, look, my plan was to get in the ring with you, turn my back on you, and just leave you for dead. And MJF's like, me too, but we're buddies now. And it's going to be, even though you know this script is coming, one of the two's still going to do it.
We thought the same with RK
and
Bro.
It's going to be incredible when it happens.
We thought the same with RK Bro. And
yeah, but that didn't end because of a storyline. That ended because Randy got hurt.
Right.
As long as nobody gets hurt, you know what's going to happen, and we're still going to pop for it. These are two of the best in the game right now. It's so good.
All right, one last thing as we go to break. Pac was added as the 5th member for the Blackpool Combat Club for Blood and Guts. I hope he becomes a member of the Blackpool Combat Club.
He fits perfectly.
Because he definitely fits.
He fits perfectly.
And he was brutal last night.
Are you good with the wrestlers who gimmick is I'm ultra violent? Mox, DB.
Moxley's still my favorite wrestler going right now.
Then yes is the answer.
The skewers in his head though from Japan.
Oh, God,
I don't know if you've seen that. That's just no. That's uncomfortable.
Wrestling. All right, let's come back. We'll wrap this bad boy up. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Don't buy that fight.
By the way, everyone out there concerned, we're good. The only thing is we can't go to wrestling because, we were kind of, no, we weren't talking wrestling. It was good how they showed the Fight Forever game. I'm still not buying it because it looks clunky to me, but, although it does, from what I saw, it does have a stadium stampede mode. That looked pretty interesting. Although it did look like it was in Jacksonville, but they're going to use the stadium that the person who owns the company owns. That just makes sense. By the way, Rob and I both will need a nap today. I just want you to know. Yeah. Just want everyone to know my wife was texting me and telling me to stop.
Miss Lisa, it's all fun. I mean, I believe every word I said, just so we're clear. That was sincere.
Same here.
But in fun.
She was saying that I was upsetting you, and she didn't want me to do that. So
No. We have worse conversations than that in the office. The fortress of nerditude.
Shop end-of-season deals during the truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, save major appliances and get an additional 10% off in-store clearance appliances. Plus, take up to 70% off select vanities like the Allen and Roth vanity combo.
it's amazing how when cars are parked close together and you could swear there's no way that dude's getting in that car, and then he just so smoothly gets in. Maybe because I know there's no way I could have gotten in that smoothly. Chicken salad chick, very popular around this time.
I'm going to have to go over there one day. And
You haven't been there before?
They have one in Destin that I went to like once or twice when I lived down there, but it's been probably 10 years.
Their best is the spicy, and I can't really eat it right now. They've got some spicy that's really good. But you go in there and you go in the restroom, and they say, thank you for bringing your wife, because they know it's geared towards women. And I mean, it's good to know.
Chicken salad have a sex demo?
It's the whole way the restaurant is marketed, especially on the inside and everything.
Okay. I might go over there today. I made shrimp street tacos for dinner last night. Ooh, nailed it.
Were they spicy or were they?
Mine were. Courtney's weren't.
Okay.
Yeah, I was sweating when I was done with them.
To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, forhims.com/joy. That's forhims.com/joy for your free online visit.
I was scrolling Facebook Marketplace last night because I look for guitar gear on there, right? Because sometimes people just get rid of stuff. And I came across a size large authentic Monday Nitro shirt. And I was like, is it bad that buying that shirt motivated me to lose weight more than getting married?
Hey, man, whatever you need, I suppose. I couldn't afford any of that stuff back in the day when it was actually popular. So it would be kind of cool to get. But then you feel like, okay, this is just a copy of it. It wasn't. Do you want to buy something that someone else wore? By the way, in the secondhand store the other day, looking for boots, because I don't want to pay for cowboy boots, and there was underwear hanging up, and and Cameron and I were just looking at each other like, okay, who comes to this and buys under? I mean, it was
second-hand underwear.
Yeah. I don't. I mean, I know. I almost wanted to ask the manager, hey, does anyone buy this? All right, it's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what's trending, and he will tell us why. The first thing I clicked on, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for it because I don't know what it is. First thing that's trending is womp womp.
Womp womp. So womp womp is an internet expression when somebody says, oh, this bad thing happened, but you're like.
So it's like Debbie Downer from.
Yeah, kind of. So like if somebody's like, I kicked a wall and I stubbed my toe, you're like, womp womp. That's what you get for kicking the wall, right? Like it's a sarcastic way to say, I don't really feel sorry for you at all. So ordinarily it is the, I'll tell you what it is. It's a family friendly way of saying FAFO.
Okay, I don't know what that is. And I'm not going to try to work it out in my mind.
Bleep around, find out.
Okay, yeah, you said that the other day.
Yeah.
Now I remember. Obviously I blocked it out already.
Womp
so.
womp.
All right, the next thing that's trending is Art Modell.
Ooh, it's obviously not his birthday.
He is a finalist for the NFL Hall of Fame, and some people are
I'll say, how you feel about
very, very unhappy
that?
about
How you
it.
feel about that, pal?
Not a Cleveland fan, but I do not want this to happen.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, people are really excited, not really, about this. And the fact it's taken a while to be, well, anyway, if that happens.
I'm going to be scrolling Twitter today.
And I don't know if you knew this, but the Hall of Fame's in Ohio. I don't know if you knew this or not.
Oh my God, that ceremony's going to be so lit,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
That ceremony's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah, amazing. That's the word I'm thinking of too. Yeah. So it could be.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NFL Hall of Fame class of 2024. Art Modell, and then just Molotovs start flying at the stage.
It's a possibility. That's you never know. All right.
Subscribe.
The next thing that's trending.
They're gonna have to put his exhibit behind bulletproof glass.
Probably. They probably will. The next thing that's trending is the Powerball.
Are we close to setting a new record? Is it up over $1 billion again? I don't listen.
875 million. So all you people,
only
all you people who, well, I don't normally play, but then I heard it was 875 million. So I was like, okay, I think I'll play it now. I mean, you're taking a gamble like you would putting $20 down on Denver to win the Super Bowl. I mean,
I would very much like to win the lottery. I have all my fantasies about what my life looks like when I win the lottery, Lonzo. I don't think I've ever bought a lottery ticket in my life. Seriously. I don't think I've ever done it.
I don't think they're that expensive.
It's not about the expense. It's that I'm not going to win it. So that's like $5 I'll never get back.
I need to, because I didn't know this, but the bed that I'm playing now is Destiny Wins. So that must mean something. We're talking about Powerball, and I play Destiny Wins.
Tomorrow, a thing I'm about to say that Lonzo's going to open his real big eyes for, but we don't know why. Tomorrow, we hand out the Zoe Awards. What's that? What does that mean?
Zoe Stark?
No. Stay tuned for tomorrow, and you'll find out. Y'all have a lovely rest of your afternoon. Don't work too hard, and don't drink a drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a good rest of your Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like things are being focused too much towards me in a derogatory way.
No,
and I quit.
We're gonna reassign our own winners of the ESPYs, and I didn't want to name them after myself because I don't have an ego. So they're the Zoes.
But as we
instead.
pointed out, I do. So yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, they're the Zoes. Thanks for hanging out, guys. You're all amazing. Zoe and I are gonna go fist fight in the parking lot now. Stupid wrestling. Y'all have a great rest of your day. See you back here tomorrow. Tell your friends about us. We love you. Mean it. Bye.